Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 20, Round 7 of the Championship. Welcome to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix from the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari. I'm your host, Zach RC, bringing you hopefully all the action tonight. Hopefully everything works for us nice and smoothly. We've also got Ben back with us, as always. Ben, welcome back in. Obviously, last week's race for us was cut short, but not so much for the majority of drivers. Che obviously came away with the win, as we both found out later on in the evening. And it's, yeah, I mean, Imola's a good circuit. It should be a very exciting race, of course, 32 laps. And we're a week out from, we're 2 weeks out from the next 100% race. So obviously, we'll see drivers gearing up for that over the course of tonight. But hopefully, this should be a good race.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, it should deliver. I mean, you've always got the change conditions here at Emilia as well. So let's see what happens, shall we, tonight?
Should be quite exciting. In terms of drivers that we are missing, at the minute we're missing one Aston Martin and one Red Bull. TJ and DJ aren't with us, at least at the minute. I think TJ is out for the evening. Whether DJ will join us, I'm not too sure. I have to keep an eye out for that later on. But I haven't seen the messaging over here for qualifying, so I have to wait and see. But for now, he's not here. So we're 18 cars, and one of those cars, there's been a change in terms of the lineup over at Ferrari going into the home Grand Prix. Lucky Lambert now taking over from Rydog in one of the two Ferrari seats. Obviously, Lucky Lambert, winner of this race back in season 12. So it's been quite a while. It's back on F1 2021. So we'll see here whether he could perhaps pull off another victory today. Obviously, the game has changed a fair bit since then, but it should be quite exciting. Obviously, we'll see our usual favourites of Grumio, Imri, Che go head-to-head. It should be quite exciting. And obviously, Ben, I have to keep an eye out for our predictions this week, because obviously it is still 2-0 to me in terms of races that we've both done together that haven't been Australia. So we've still got to find a winner for us this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I need to close something back, so we'll see. We'll see who gets it right, if indeed any of us get it right tonight.
I say if we don't get it right, it just comes down to sort of highest position. In which case, I think I had Pope in Bahrain and you had Imri, if memory serves.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
And obviously, I think Pope finished second in the end over Imri. I believe finished off the podium, if memory serves. But Imri's had a good run since that, saying so. He's still got obviously had that one win in China for the season, so that's one win from 6 so far. He's currently 54 points back from Grumio, so obviously had a monster start to this season. It's 4 wins in the first 6 rounds. Obviously, Che and Imri have both claimed 1 each, so we'll see here if Grumio can go back to back of this circuit as he did with Williams last season. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, as you said, changeable conditions, strategy is always in play, and pace should always be strong around here if you want to succeed at Imola, as Imri comes through the last 2 corners through turns 17 and 18 up towards 19. Now this little right-hander to end the lap. So the first time on the board, it's Imri 114.1 on the line for Kick Sauber. And the next car to come through will be one of the... It says the next car on the lap. That will be either Pope or Ericsson. I think Ericsson, yes. He'll be next through. He's going through Aquamina Rowley now, down there at turns 11, 12, and 13. But a good start from Imri. And obviously, I think, Ben, we're going to likely be set to see Imri and Grumio do the rounds in qualifying once again.
Yeah, I think so. But don't discount the likes of Williams, and occasionally Dan can pop up there with an interesting lap as well. So we'll see what happens.
Of course, Dan has obviously refound his footing in recent weeks. As DJ does now join us. We have now got 19 cars in the session, just missing TJ's Red Bull in tonight's event. So DJ will have to get a lap in to get things started here in Q1 shortly. But yeah, Dan currently sits in P5 on the championship. Despite Che winning the last 6 races, he's only 4 points in front of Dan at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see that fight going on for P4. What could be P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Pope only sits 1 point in front of Che himself. Ooh. So it's looking quite tight there behind obviously pulling away Grumio and the chasing Imri in second place. And in terms of the constructors, Haas continued to expand their lead. 41 points to the good over Williams. But I'd say with a good Che's victory last week, could it perhaps try and string up a run of results that could help Williams to close that gap back in over Haas?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll find out as the season develops, without a doubt. Whether Williams do have the outright pace over the Haas team is another thing. Because obviously Haas got Grumio, they've got a 10-time world champion. AT can be quick on his day as well. So it all comes down to these. Well, I guess next couple of important races, so will definitely shape out the championship nonetheless.
And of course, we're looking forward, obviously, we've still got a race to run today, but looking into Monaco next week as Grumio goes fastest by just over a tenth to Imri, now in second place, and Pope in third, 1.14.4. So those three the ones to beat thus far, as Grumio gives AT a slight toe down towards turn 1 into the Tamburello chicane. So we're keeping an AT on his lap. But as I was going to say, Ben, one thing to keep an eye out for next week, Monaco next week. And the stories around Monaco have always been chaotic, to say the least. We've often seen not a low number of finishes, but less finishes than we are used to seeing over the course of a normal Grand Prix. And this time it's not 100% length, so we're in for a standard 39-lap race next week, and we'll see who comes out on top in that one. And I think that should be as exciting as this race will be as well, but in its own way.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be well. Normally Monaco delivers, so I think if we just think back to a couple of seasons ago where I ended up picking up 2 punctures on the very same lap within about 3 corners, so that were lovely. But yeah, well, these lot know how to keep the tyres intact, and they know what they're doing. So let's see what happens.
Do you know what? I completely forgot about that. About that in Monaco. You and Tyres, Ben, have just never really seemed to get on in this league. But AT towards the line,
No.
goes into 4th place by just under half second to Pope in 3rd, who's since retired from the session. So Pope likely safe in Q2. JB into P6 there, 116.078. Of course, RB continuing to go from strength to strength over the course to come in particular. 10th Cannon, of course, JB added more points to the tally last week in Miami, but 10th Cannon, 40 points for the season, actually tied with AT for P6 in the Drivers' Championship. She's gone on record by saying this week that if she can finish in, or at least try and match her 8th place from season 18, she'll be satisfied with that. We'll have to wait and see what she can pull out the bag this week and see if she can continue on this run of good form. But I'd say she's definitely been one of the standout performers so far, I think, compared to where she was last season, man.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, 10th has had a really good start to the season, and it can really only get better from it. To be honest with you, I don't see 10th falling backwards in the time. So with 10th's pace as it has been recently, I think she'll be in for a few surprise results. I reckon she can definitely nick a podium depending on how things go in front of her.
Yellow flag down in the end of the 2nd sector. It's one of the McLarens. I believe that's Alvar down there going out to the chicane. He's got the car moving again. I'm not sure if he's got any damage from that Chrome Empire machine. The front wing looks all okay, so we'll just assume he may have spun out, perhaps let a car go. Didn't entirely see what happened there, but we'll see Alvar as he comes around here the last few corners to begin his first flying lap. 11 cars set time so far. We'll call it 10 because Che is put in a 124.2, and we know that's not his real pace. He had his second lap deleted here, but he was a second and a half up, so things were looking good for Che until that happened. But imagine we'll see him into the pit lane this time. Nope, he's staying out, going for another run on that same set of soft tyres. He's done 2 laps on them already, and he was improving by 7/10 on that lap, as Imri also retires, as does Grumio. So the top 3 all calling it quits here. AT still P4, Curtis in P5, then it's Ethan, Ericsson, PJ, JB, and Lucky. Lucky there in P10. Oh, as he finds the gravel going through the Tamburello chicane, it finds the gravel at turn 2. Not at all the place you want to do. Sorry, turn 3. Technically, it's a weird one, but technically, one could argue. I mean, F1's depiction of the track map on their website and in their official rulings, they depict turn 1 as the slight kink of the right-hander as you sort of cross the line and go towards the Tamburello chicane. So it's a bit weird on that front. It's the same sort of thing in what is technically the last corner, which is the little right curve before the finish line. So that's something to keep an eye out for, in case we just mess up corners over the course of the evening. But I know you and I we're normally quite alright corner-wise.
Yeah, normally corner-wise it's not that bad, fair. Yeah, that turn 1 is going to be a bit of a pain. I'd class turn 1 as your first breaking point. Just to let you know, that is Lucky's second moment, and as I say that, he goes for a 3rd.
Oh, and yep, going around at the exits back in the road there, good spot as he gets the car rolling again, and I'm hoping that he's going to get all these out in qualifying and not do the same sort of thing in the race. I doubt that Tifosi would like to see that as he comes back into a full-time role with the league. As he makes his way through the chicane, keeps the car under control this time, and one of the Saubers has gone through Sim Francine. That's HB Cook coming towards the last few corners on the circuit. And we'll see where he comes out compared to his teammate. Obviously, HB Cook currently P11 in the championship, 9 points scored so far this season. Perhaps not the same sort of blistering pace that it was over the course of the latter half of last season in particular, as he obviously came alive, including that win in Vegas. So yet to see him really get up to speed and compared to his usual standard. But we'll see in terms of where he can put, if he can put some more points on the board in tonight's race, and hopefully get Sauber a bit closer to Williams in the constructors, because they're currently 85 points off the lead, and that's 44 points back from Williams in second place.
Yeah, I think Williams have just generally kept it quite consistent. Obviously, Sauber didn't really have the best opening weekends, to say the least. I think Cook ended up outside the points, and then we had a bit of a collision with somebody and took him out of the race. So that was probably the worst way to start the season. But Haas have just been dominant.
Of course, the combination of Grumio and AT was obviously highly predicted to be one of the, if not the top lineups on the grid this season. There was obviously a bit of looking for Pope and Chase with their closest challengers. So I'd say in terms of expectations, it's looking more or less as you'd expect in terms of the order going off of the end of last season. Obviously, 10th and JB have been the surprise package so far, P5 for them thus far. But I mean, aside from that, I'd say in terms of the hierarchy of the group, this is more or less what we are looking at in terms of the order thus far. But in terms of what's going on track, there's still 6.5 minutes to go, and we're still waiting on 3 more cars to come out and set lap times. Websy, Courtney Goblin, and 10th Cannon all yet to put a time on the board. And as it stands right now, Obsessed and DJ are the 2 slowest. So DJ's going out as it stands with a 1:22.9, about 5 or 6 seconds off of Obsessed. So they'll need to make a change there. But no one on the circuit. Everyone is off the circuit right now, Spencer. We've got a moment to sort of breathe, take it all in. And we'll just see here what goes on over the course of the session when everyone comes back on circuit. As I see one of the RBs about to emerge onto the racetrack. We'll have to keep an eye on who that is. That is JB. He's come back on the circuit. He's P13 at the moment. Yeah,
so we're just looking at invalidations at the moment. Not been many as of late. The only 3 do have invalidated lap times, or 2 should I say, juggle tweet, is Obsessed and Trey. Obsessed has probably got a lot. In fact, no, Obsessed has got a lot more pace in them. Don't go wrong. They can normally be pretty fast on their day, and then Trey doesn't really need to worry about going out again.
Trey most likely safe in Q2. Of course, only has to avoid being in the bottom 4 to go through, and he's currently up there a good 2 seconds, give or take, above the cut line, which is always a nice place to be in. JB though is currently only about half a second above that cut line, so it's not looking fantastically for him at the minute. We'll see if he can get himself a better run this time around and see. We're about to stack himself up, try and look perhaps definitely for a Q2 run, if not for a Q3 run at best for the RB cars. 10th, you obviously get Sierra out on circuit. Websy now takes the track for Aston Martin. Aston P7 in the constructors so far. Websy in P13 in the drivers, just 8 points all season as Dan and Curtis retired. Che retiring too, so a number of cars calling it quits. Now the cars who are likely safe in Q2. Curtis, the first car in the 115s, looking good for him as well. And Tim Cannon also out on circuit now, so she's going for her first run. We'll see what she's got in the bag to try and get herself up the order, and preferably in front of her teammate, as she has been so far this season. Although obviously we've got to take into account JB's been on his wheel and pedals for the first season running that technology. And I say he's sort of results-wise, he's finding his footing. I haven't seen much of it on track, unfortunately, Ben, because of the issues we've been having with the stream the last few weeks. But in terms of results, he's starting to bring points in, and I'd say he might be finding his feet.
Yeah, I'd say so. It does take time to get used to the wheel and pedals. It does take a couple, or it can take drivers longer than normal. I think JB's suited it quite well. In terms of actual performances on track, obviously he's had a few moments, but I think we're all bound to if we make that switch. You got something?
Sorry, speaking of, I had to cut you off, Ben, but I just saw Ted go for a massive slide there into the gravel at turn 17. She saved the car and she kept it rolling, but for just a massive lock-up going into the left-hander, and as I say, kept the car going straight, regained control of it, but I doubt that will help her tyres too much. So sorry to cut you off, carry on.
It's alright. If JB comes up to the line now, is JB going to improve? It looks like he will. Yes. By 0.4 of a second goes P11. You're probably looking about mid-15 to get you through into Q2, and then you're probably talking about a 15.2, maybe 15.3 to get you into Q3. Just looking at top 6, so now they're all in the 14s, so
obviously a
Yeah, I
lot
can
of
see the 50s being the cut-off.
I can definitely see that seems that could be accurate later on. We'll see if the times drop at all in Q2. Obviously, gives us a bit more of an idea as to sort of what you need to be aiming for to get yourself into the next part, the last part of qualifying later on. As Lucky Lambert comes towards the line, he's on a 1 minute 16.4. This time it's 1:15.9, so he's getting half a second. Only enough for one place, truthfully, but that one place was enough to get him a bit further away there from the cutoff. They're saying that the cutoff is now 1 minute 16.0, so they've got to keep an eye out because Obsessed is now fully out, along with DJ, Courtney Goblin, and 10th Cannon. 10th just went up to 14th, so move PJ into the bottom 5k, so you now need a 1:15 minimum, so that's how quickly it changes, as we often see in both in the RDR and in real life Formula 1. And it'll be interesting to see if both Ferraris can find a way out of Q1 here. Courtney Goblin dead last, but now on circuit. And only got 2 minutes to go, so things have come around quite quickly here, Ben. And hopefully we'll be in for an exciting end to this session.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It looks like the track keeps ramping up quite a lot. I was mentioning about Obsessed, saying that they've got a lot more pace in them. Went a little bit wide into the final corner, but up to the line. Looks to be a solid improvement. Goes P12. That's probably going to be alright. Just watch DJ go wide through turn 4. That's about it.
DJ's going quite slowly. I'm not sure. I mean, for a second I thought he had a puncture, but no, he's all okay. He's just going so the car was just porpoising a little bit. At least that's my only explanation for it. But regardless, minute to go, and 10th Cannon is now out. 1:15.8 is currently the first time going out. Actually, once again finds the gravel there through turns 17 and 18. And HB Cook now the last car on the cutoff. 1:15.703 for him. It's currently looking like it's his to lose. 10th Cannon retires, so 10th going out of Q1 then. So tough start to the evening for her. Webbsy retiring from P7 there, so big gains for Aston Martin. DJ also there in P13. Obviously not on a lap now. HB Cook is up by 2/10 again, so looking at more gains. JB is retired, obviously. We might be seeing him go out potentially if cars behind get close enough. Courtney Goblin towards the line. Courtney goes P19, 1 minute 19.666. And he'll be eliminated, I should think. Same for PJ, so he's left the lead. Yeah, PJ is also going out. Lucky Lambert's up by 3/10. Might be enough to actually get him into Q2. From here, it'll be interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on him as the checkered flag gets set to fall on the Q1. HB Cook is currently looking to also try and save himself. We'll see what his final sector looks like. He's coming in just behind Lucky Lambert. So last 2 corners then for Lucky. And we'll see what the Season 10 champion can do as he runs towards the line. It's going to be a 1:15.5. That's P11 for him. Where is HB Cook? PJ's off in the gravel. HB Cook into P7. And that'll put both RBs out then. And there is your bottom 4. Courtney P19. And it's PJ, 10th, and JB gutting into things for both RB cars. And Ben, when we were saying we're looking at like sort of mid-15s to get you into Q2. I said that's more or less worked out.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, we got that one pretty well.
So Grumio fastest in the end of Q1, but only by just over a 10th to Imri. It's Pope in 3rd place, Che in 4th, less than 10th covering the 2 teammates. Dan P5, he's right there behind Che. AT, then HB Cook into P6 and P7. Webbsy, Curtis, and Alva are under your top 10. Then it's Ethan, Lucky, Obsessed, Ericsson, and DJ all going through. And unfortunately, we do lose JB, 10th, PJ, and Courtney at the end of this first session, as we wait now for the last few cars to call it quits here at the end of their qualifying runs. Everyone has crossed the line save for Alvar and Ericsson. So once the 2 McLarens cross, that should do us. Ericsson over the line, P13 for him, and Alvar into the pit lane. So it'll be a minute before we actually get Gustav going for Q2. But exciting end to things then in Q1, Ben. And hopefully we'll get more exciting for us.
Yeah, should do. All be well with the track ramping up, and maybe I can't really tell, but it looks like the weather's going to stay dry at least for the next part of qualifying, maybe, I'd say. But yeah, it's looking pretty good for Q2 at the moment.
So it should be an exciting session to keep an eye out for as we still waiting for Alvar's team to bring the car back into the garage, and from that should be cool for us to carry on. HB Cook there, I mean, he came close to being knocked out, but brought it to P7 in the end, so Kick Sauber still on it in terms of raw pace, but we'll see if they can get both their cars into Q3. That'll be decided in Q2 in a matter of moments here. But as I say, Grumio fastest by 0.111 seconds to Imri. Pope in third. He's within half a second of the top time. Che and Dan not separated by much. AT there in sixth, almost a second off. Same thing. So only the top 7 within a second of each other. And the gap then from P1 to P19 being 2.9 seconds. So big gaps to be filled in today. And we'll keep an eye out for how that gap comes down as we get ourselves down to 15 drivers now. And Q2 moments away from getting underway.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I'm gonna bring you in, and you're gonna make mention that fact, all right? Apologies, I unmuted myself, but we are back for Q2. I unmuted myself a minute or two too soon. But Ben was in the middle of telling me quite an interesting fact there about HP Cook kick Sauber. Ben, would you like to reel back what you just told me?
yeah, so between his first and second run and his final run, he found 0.8 of a second, just showing how much the track really ramped up by. He went from 15th up to 7th, if I'm not mistaken, so we'll see if that happens in Q2 too.
Obviously, yeah, he was there on and around the cutoff, so it'd be interesting to see if he can maintain that pace in this second part of qualifying as we get our top 15 drivers from Q1 back on the circuit again. And we'll see who comes out on top. Obviously, I haven't seen much focus in terms of the top time so far. We've seen our usual suspects up there. Grumio led Imri by a 10th in the first part of qualifying tonight. And we'll see if that changes at all in Q2. Obviously, as tyre strategy comes into play a bit more over the course of the session, we'll see who runs the old set first and goes for a fresher set later on. In terms of the qualifying battle in terms of pole positions gained, it's been Grumio. It's been 3-all so far in terms of Grumio and Imri. So the pair of them are about as closely matched as we are in our predictions, Ben. So it's going to be interesting to see if we'll see a driver getting their 4th pole of the season. Perhaps if we'll see a first-time pole sitter this campaign. It's going to be good to watch as Imri comes through for his first lap.
Normally it is, yeah. Normally it is. Q2 is quite very entertaining. And then into Q3, of course, well, let's just face it, the pressure is on the drivers in Q3. So we could see a few errors sliding in.
We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we saw a fair few errors from a number of drivers in Q1, which drivers will know that they need to get rid of and just sort of cut out completely if they want any hope of surviving in this session. But in terms of, yeah, obviously what's on the line, a Q3 place is there for them over the next 12 minutes or so. And yeah, we'll see. We'll find out who it will be this week, because it's always a bit of a toss-up in terms of, we know there'll be a number of cars, obviously Imri, Grumio, Pope, Che, Dan, who will often always make it into Q3. But then the other 5 places, I'd say, are always up for grabs a little bit. The other 5 places at most, I'd say, because there's always 1 or 2 surprises in these sessions.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one there, Zach. Normally, it can change. Obviously, we've seen, I think it was in Bahrain when Dan almost struggled slightly to get through and then got through in like 6th in the end, and then he ended up going on for a pretty decent qualifying session. So we're seeing the top guys who have had slight errors as Imri goes 2/10 slower than what he did in Q1. That won't phase him really. He's mainly just getting through into Q3, that's it.
Well, it's a good bank lap for him, given it's only 2 or 3 tenths off his previous lap. So we saw Websy go a bit wide there and off into the gravel, leaving turn 4. He's got the car recovered, from what I can see, and the gravel is completely cleared off the tyres. So we have to go for a lap. You can see the dust still on the car there, and a sign of a healthy excursion off the circuit, which is the only way I can really think to describe it. But the time's come through quickly here. Dan in P2, HP Cook P3, Ericsson P3, scrap that. Cook now in P4, Pope P5. But Pope quite way off pace-wise there. 15.5 on the board for him, so almost in around a second off of his previous effort in Q1. So I imagine we'll want to see him improve on that without a shadow of a doubt. But again, likely he's just on that old set of soft tyres. We'll see what we can do on the fresh ones.
The only thing that does kind of baffle me in a way when the top leaders do go out on a set of used tyres is the fact that Pope is now set at 15.5. That was barely enough just to get into Q2. So Pope is definitely going to have to go out again. As just watching AT have a bit of a snap going out of chicane in sector 2 and into sector 3 now.
And down towards turn 17 for the first time in the session. Of course, we saw a number of cars go off here in the particular 10th Canada. Of course, went down to elimination in Q1. Had his lap deleted there at turn 18. I mean, he's coming to the pit lane, so whether that was the plan, regardless, it was a very quick change of it if it wasn't the plan. But AT back in, and a tough start for him here in Q2. Sorry. Our top 8 drivers are now set lap times. Websy in 1 minute 47.9 off pace. Dan in second place. And I think we see Obsessed starting his lap going into Tamburello. He goes now. And running the car quite nicely there. Of course, Obsessed just a 1 point scored this season. So it's been a bit of a tough start to his return full-time to the RDL after almost a season away from us. But it's going to turn back as Che goes fastest now. Last week's winner now on top of the board with a 1 minute 14.3, which is only just faster than Imri's. And I'm guessing that's also on a set of used tyres. I have to wait and see in terms of should his pace improve on a second run or whether perhaps he'll save a set tyres for Q3. The plan here can often vary depending on driver. We've seen Grumio in the past put the 1 lap in and then call it quits and have a fresh set of tyres to play around with in Q3. We've seen him do the same thing in the past. Curtis there in P4, 1 minute 14.3 as it's 1 minute 15.3. Sorry, as Dan retires, so it looks like that's the plan for him. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys go for. Whether they try to go for more laps in Q2 or go for a more lap. Because I'd say you probably want more laps. Want to go more laps in Q3 if you're planning on making it. As Che goes wide there, it's the gravel down at turn number 10. So I can't go fly past it. It's Alward, the McLaren. But it should be interesting tyre-wise to see what these guys plan on doing, Ben.
Yeah, it will be, yeah. The thing holding people back in Q3 is the time. So you probably, I mean, have you really got enough time in the bag to then do 3 runs? Probably not. So you're looking 2 runs for Q3. 1 on more than likely a used set of tyres and then 1 on a fresh set of tyres anyway.
Alvar then to P4. The McLaren's looking quite good here to kick things off in this session. Alvar P4 and Ericsson in P6. So the 10 drivers set times doing the top half thus far, but we yet to see AT, Grumio, Lucky, Obsessed, and DJ set their times. So 3 of those 5 are out on track right now. Obsessed is obviously on his current lap, but both Haas cars have just left the pit lane. Grumio on his first lap now. So keep an eye on him because this obviously could be the top time in the session perhaps. We'll see what his run on used soft tyres looks like. We'll keep an eye on the champion and defending race winner here at Imola, as he's done several times over the course of his ideal career. But I mean, for Grumio, Imola's always been one of those circuits where it could really go either way. He could dominate and pull away, or he could get a 10-second penalty, as he did last week in Miami, and then have the race fall away from him from there. It's how Dan managed to take his first victory in the RDL 2 seasons ago, if memory serves, back in Imola. Of course, he was the defending winner going into the race last season. Grumio obviously won it back, so he's got the crown going into today's race. It should be interesting to see the pace on show from these guys. Grumio nears the second split for the second sector, 49.5 on the board from him as he finds the chicane. Yellow flag there from Alvar and the McLaren, letting him go. And AT, AT will be letting Grumio go, I should think. And will now set himself up for a tow. Again, the teamwork in play from these 2 Haas cars. We've seen it, Ben, several times over the past couple of seasons when they've been in different teams. But now they are teammates, and it's working out quite nicely for them as Grumio crosses the line. Only goes P4 there, 1:14.7. So Grumio considerably slower there on his used set than Imri, Che, and Dan, which could be interesting.
Yeah, watching Grumio's that time the whole way through. We had a couple of snaps here and there. Didn't look that great. They were using the full extent of the track, but end of the day, just get through into Q3 and then making it count in the final part of qualifying.
We'll see if he retires this time. We'll get a sense as to what his game plan is from there. AT through the first sector up towards turn number 9, the left-hander. Taking it nice and smooth as Imri goes faster still, 1:13.7 on his fresh set, and that is a sense of what these guys are up against. That's a second, almost a second in front of Dan's best time at the moment. And that is what we are looking at in terms of the time to beat in tonight's race. And we'll see if Grumio will respond to that, whether he'll try and go for it instead in Q3 when it counts. But Obsessor retiring now, and AT coming towards the last two or three corners on the circuit. Into the left-hander he comes. And this time to keep the lap from getting deleted, which he does do. Keeps it in the white lines, up towards the lines, complete his effort. It's a 1 minute 15.1. Enough P6 on the board. There's 4 tenths back from his teammate.
I think, yeah, well, don't quote me on this. Obviously, Grumio likes to dominate here, there, and everywhere, but Grumio will not be happy with that lap at all in the slightest. To know that that lap is only 5th, and for it to be a 14.7 when we had quite a few drivers in the 14.8, 14.9, I don't think Grumio will be too pleased with that lap.
No, so we'll take into account that he is on a used set, as a DJ almost lose the car through Tamburello. But yeah, I mean, even on the used set, he's just not there as Imri was on his lap. I mean, the gap between Grumio's best time in Q1 on the fresh set of softs and the gap between his in Q2 on the old set is slower than Imri's. Imri retires, so he's done for the second. He's obviously good in Q3. Grumio looks to be staying in the session. We'll see if he retires. We'll have to find out. As Ethan goes into P7 there. But we'll keep our eye now sort of on the bottom half of the table right now, because Ericsson currently serves as the cutoff. He's only 22 thousandths in front of HP Cook there in 11th place. Webbsy and DJ behind him. Obsess is retired, so Obsess is out of the session from P14. He'll start highest P14 for the race, if not P15. If Lucky can get a time in. But Lucky is in the pit lane now. Pope retires as well. Top 4 all out. And we'll see what the Haas cars choose to do. Ethan, no P7, as I say. Curtis is on circuit, as is both Aston Martins. DJ towards the line, but pitting now. And Webbsy comes to the last sector. So we'll see what Webbsy can do, because he's currently one of the cars going out. But only by 1,000th to HP Cook.
Yeah, it's tight. I don't think Webbsy's going to be struggling for that much longer as he comes up to the line now. He's probably talking of mid-14. Yeah, 14.8. So high-end 14 goes ahead of 80. Yet again, that's going to concern Grumio. So we'll see what Grumio does in the lap park in Q2.
So we'll see if he goes for another run. There's still 3.5 minutes to go. We could see him go for another lap. He's got time to it. Oh, there he goes, retiring.
Oh, no.
So that answers that burning question for us. Right, so in that case, then we'll continue on as we are. And currently, Curtis there in P4, fantastic lap from the Red Bull driver on that set of soft tyres. I'm unsure if it's used or fresh. So I have to wait and see on that later on, depending on his Q3 pace. But good stuff so far from the Red Bull. Obviously, he's P9 in the standings, 15 points from these first 6 rounds. 10 points less than his teammate TJ, so 40 points combined for the pair of them. 6 points behind RB in the race for P5. So the sister team, again, outperforming the main Red Bull lineup. Obviously, it doesn't matter as much in RDL, as it's all equal performance, but it's something that you haven't seen in modern day Formula 1 for almost 20 years. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at Kurtz's qualifying times, you'd expect Curtis to be up and around the top 6, maybe the top 7. It's just not worked out for him well in the race. He's either gone backwards, had a bit of an incident, or he's just not been able to keep that pace consistently enough. He is the sole Red Bull out there today, so he has got a bit of a disadvantage before we even get into the race.
So it'll be up to him to score the points. Not even a reserve teammate alongside him for this week's event. TJ not with us, but did leave a message in the chat saying good luck to everyone, so which is always very nice of him to do that. Lucky Lambert out on circuit. He hasn't got a lap time in yet. He's currently P15 right now, and there's 2 minutes to go. So he has got time, but he's really throwing that Ferrari through the Villeneuve chicane. He heads up towards Tosa, the left-hander, up at turn number 7. It's one of my favourite corner names on the circuit. Because I always seem to remember it for one reason or another. And up through turn 8 towards 9, 7th gear for him. Going down, shifting by 1 as he rounds turn 9, down towards that Rally. This combination of corners going from turns 11, 12, and then 13. Tough to get right on low track on no traction, as I've learned myself in the past. As he makes his way towards the chicane, 50.2 is second sector, so looking all right from thus far. But we'll see what he looks like when he comes out of the final corner, because that'll be the key thing. He's got a minute to go, so likely wouldn't be another lap in there for him. So he's got to hope this is enough. But it's very tight right now between the cars currently surrounding that cutoff line, Ben. So we're looking here as Lucky comes towards the line. Yellow flag in front out of Tamburello, but Lucky into P13. And I'm thinking that will likely be elimination for him. And it'll come down to the cars in front of him. Ethan, Alvar, Ericsson, HB. I scrap that Ethan, because Ethan's in the pit lane. So it'll come down to, I think, likely Alvar, Ericsson, HB Cook fighting for that potentially last spot in Q3. Let's have to find out. It's Alvar. Sorry, I changed there. Ericsson goes to P8, so Alvar now out. Ethan is on the cutoff. He is the last car going through, but he's in the pit lane now, so can't respond if somebody goes faster. If another car improves more than he does, then he's out.
Yes, indeed it is. I'd be worrying if I was Ethan. Maybe if I was AT as well. I wouldn't be happy on that all the time. Cook is 3/10 to the good.
And there it is.
So he should be okay.
Sorry to cut your coffee over there, Ben. So Ethan, second flag's now fallen. Ethan is the second car out. DJ improved just enough to get himself into the top 10. However, we could still see a change. Alvar is not improving, so he is out as well, it seems. Lucky Lambert also not improving, so he's going out. It might come down once again to HP Cook here and see what he's got lined up for a last-second gasp run into Q3 to try and deny DJ at the last moment as he makes his way through turns 17 and 18. Out to the final corner, charging towards the line now. It's going to come down to this for a spot in Q3 for HB Cook. Can he do it? He can do it. Move DJ out, and HB Cook goes through 1 minute 14.8 in the end, and Webbs will be the lone Aston Martin in Q3 as AT just about squeezes in. But DJ, Ethan, Alvar, Lucky and Obsessed all out as Emery tops Q2 by 6 or 7 tenths to Che in second place. Difficult end them for a number of cars in qualifying. A number of good cars there. We have got a very strong group here who will be set to do battle in Q3. Ben, if you had to give me a prediction for pole position now, what are we thinking?
Oh, it's always so tight. Let's say... who should I go for? The lap that Grimo's point doesn't concern me a bit. I'm going to go Imre.
Okay, right. Do you know what? I like where you're going as well. I'm going to go with me. Obviously, we're not counting the qualifying as predictions head to head, so we'll leave that. But yeah, no, I'd say Imre liked the favourite pole position. Grumio, you never really know because his pace, we haven't seen the full extent of his pace as we often do until Q3. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds to the time that Imre's put up. He's quite a way in front of Che and Pope, so it's going to be fun. And we'll see in Q3 who's got the speed to lead and who will take the 7th pole position of the season. In terms of your results then from Q2, Imre fastest by almost 6 tenths to Che, Pope in 3rd, then it's Curtis and Daniel top 5. Grumio only in P6, so tough run in Q2, but just a 1 lap set. Webbsy, HB Cook, Ericsson and AT going through. AT through by 34,000 to DJ in P11. It's Ethan, Alvar, Lucky and Obsessed joining him in the bottom 5. We now have our final 10 who will do battle for pole positioning for Q3 in just a matter of moments. Q3 then about to get underway, and looking forward to the next 12 minutes will hopefully be a raw... I've botched it already. Yeah, just raw pace on show, and we're looking forward to seeing who will take pole position in this the 7th race of the season. If you are just joining us, welcome along. Things are about to get very, very interesting here on Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, of course named after the founder and owner of the Ferrari brand, and of course his long deceased son Enzo. And we're looking forward to what should be a good run. Unfortunately, no Ferraris in the top 10 in qualifying. Lucky Lambert went out in Q2, and we saw Courtney out in Q1. We have got cars running the Ferrari engine in the session, namely the 2 Haas cars and the 2 Kick Saubers. So both teams get both their cars in. 1 Aston Martin, 2 Williams cars, 1 Red Bull, a McLaren, and a Mercedes. Ericsson then in the top 10. Fantastic run from him. Only 2 points scored for him all season long so far. McLaren P9, in the Constructors, 10 points to their name, so a good chance to try and get some more points on the board. And we'll see here what Ericsson's got up his sleeve as the first few cars are out on track. The first whole half the cars are out on the track in a minute. Make that 6. So AT, Websy, HP Cook and Dan both all stay in the pit lane. But Ben, me and you are both agreeing Q2, Imri looks to be the favourite for Q3 thus far.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. I think Grumio, obviously with his lap time in Q2, we didn't really see his full pace there. Obviously he did only do the 1 lap, but we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes or so.
So Grumio, for once, an unknown in terms of his pace, in terms of all-out pace. But Imri going up towards Tamburello for the first time in Q3. Wants a good start to things here. Whether he's got a fresh... Oh, what if he goes into the gravel? And the camera didn't catch that. Didn't quite catch that. Ben, did you catch that in particular? Were you on board with him?
Yeah, so I just managed to get back on board with him as soon as he just started to lose the car. It looked like he just rode the curb too aggressively just in turn 2, and that's where it unsettled the car, and that'll be lap over. But he kept the car out of the wall. That's the main aim.
That is the key thing indeed. You can see all the dust there on the carbon fibre side of the Kick Sauber as his teammate HP Cook goes flying on past, and hopefully he'll avoid the same fate as his teammate in a lap's time. So we've got a number of cars coming through now. Set lap times. Grumio is on the board already. That's quite quick. I mean, almost everyone's out on circuit already. I didn't really see a number of cars leaving. So we'll just carry on as we were. And just Websy in the pit lane. Websy is emerging now for his lap as well. So we're going to see all 10 of our qualifying contenders on the circuit. So we'll see what Grumio's got up his sleeve. As we say, he's more of the unknown in terms of flat-out pace in Q3. Because we know obviously in Q1 and Q2 he tends to hold back a little bit. And we'll see here what he's got in terms of 100% running. 48.8 is second sector. Now that's a fantastic second sector. As Pope goes fastest, he's the early benchmark on 14.4 for Williams. Che will be Che has deleted, so can't compare against Pope just yet. Dan is there in P10, one of the cars yet to set a lap time. Imri then 133.2, and obviously a long way off his usual standards, but we'll know how much he's improving by because he made the mistake in the first sector. Courtesy to P2 as expected. Grumio towards the line. Grumio 113.4. Okay, right, and there it is. There is the call, and all of a sudden Imri is very much up against it after a tough start to Q3 for him. That run for the gravel on his first lap.
Speaking of Imri, I think he may have just done the exact same thing again.
He may have done, but he's on his in lap, so we can excuse it a little bit more. I'm not sure if he was going again. I don't think, but he is. Back.
Isn't Rosade?
Yeah. So he went off circuit. I think that's when it got marked.
Right. Yeah, it looks a bit dirtier, that Kick Sauber. I wonder if he has done the exact same thing. It would have obviously pit at the end of that, but yeah, well, Imri's on the back foot already, and it didn't take that long at all.
Ericsson there in third place, in front of Curtis's Red Bull in fourth. Obviously, Imri, the fifth car, set a time 133.2, definitely below his usual standards. Websy up towards Tamburello for the first time in his session, right on board with him here. I mean, these curbs on some of the corners around here are very different compared to what we normally see around other circuits. So it is very easy to get yourself unsettled because the curbs don't really have that same sort of design, especially right on the apex. I've found the well, you and I are both aware, Ben. If you go to Hungary, you're aware of the that curb in particular. At the end of the first sector, the right hander going before the chicane. You get on the curb too much there, it spins you out.
Yeah, less said about that curve, the better.
It's the same sort of thing here. I think. Is there another incident of yours that I've forgotten?
Yeah, I think when I was an RB driver, or it may have been while I was a reserve for a bit, I had a bit of an incident on lap 1. I think I hit someone, got a bit on the curb, and the car just went no.
I mean, truthfully, it's easily done. I'd say they made it a bit more difficult to do so in the last couple of games, in particular as the handling model has obviously changed over time. But 18 in second place there, so we'll actually probably good for us to get our focus back on the actual racing. I'm sorry for putting us off kilter a little bit, but everyone has now set a time with 6 minutes to go. So the first half of these Q3 runs are now over. Obviously, we'll see second runs from everyone, I should think. Imri, though, we wanted to try and fight back because he's now set there in P10 instead, and not at all where you want to be after a Q1 run, especially after a Q3 run, especially after you spent Q1 and Q2 in the top 3 exclusively. So we'll see what Imri can do and how he can respond. and it's a tough start for him. And if he doesn't recover it, it could be in for a slightly more interesting race in terms of having to work his way through the traffic.
Yeah, the problem that we're going to have is if Emery does not improve and he remains P10, it's probably talking about being about 10 seconds or so off the lead, and that's by lap 2. So the field spread, whilst the field is fairly close, from like 6th down to 10th, or 6th including down to 15th maybe, and then obviously you got your top 6 that will run away with it. But yeah, I mean, Emery needs to get his foot down, shall we say. I mean, we know he's capable of doing that.
Let's wait and see here. I mean, it seemed like a rare misstep in terms of qualifying paces. Everyone is in the pit lane. We're just waiting now on final runs to get underway. But it could be a minute or two as everyone will obviously fight to get to be the last one to the line. And I have to keep an eye out as to when we see a member of team personnel of any of the teams still in Q3 to emerge back on the track as Aston Martin push Webbsy's car back into the garage. I imagine we'll likely see one of the Saubers out first, if I had to take a guess here. P9 and P10 for them, while the two Haas boys lock out the front row. It's looking quite bleak for the Green Machines at the moment, but behind them though, it's Che in 3rd place, down in 4th, Pope Bradley on top 5 usual suspects there. Webbsy P6, Ericsson P7, Curtis P8, as we say, the two kick Saubers there, and Imrie is about to come back out on the circuit, so he's going for it when there's no traffic. So here he goes, first car back out. We'll see if anyone does choose to join him for the moment. It looks like everyone else is staying where they are for the time being, but Imrie going for it. So he's going for an empty track, and we'll have to see in terms of traffic when he comes back around in a lap's time, whether he's in traffic or whether he manages to find himself a bit of clean air.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. That's all I have to say, really. Time will tell.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, there's not a lot going on right now. It's just him on his out lap for the minute as he goes through Tosa through turn at number 9. And yeah, just waiting now for the next car to come back on circuit. The next car looks to be the Red Bull of Curtis, who is emerging back onto the racetrack. I think we'll start seeing more and more cars heading back out as the second tick down. It's only 3 minutes to go. It takes you just under a minute 15 to get yourself around the circuit for these guys. Plus the obviously 35 seconds or so it takes you to get the pit lane. So it's quite a long pit exit here at Imola for a pit lane that's so short. For a main straight that's so long, the pit lane is very, very short in terms of actual cars in the pits. They're all on that one little straight there as Imrie heads down towards turn 17. And he'll want a better lap this time. I have to run on board with him through Tamburello to ensure he doesn't make the same mistake. We'll keep an eye out here as Romeo is also out on track as well. So we are looking here at final runs, and it looks like it'll be a clean track for Imrie, no one in his way. And we'll see this time then whether he does go round at Tamburello again.
Yeah, we'll see as he heads down, breaks it just after the 100 metre board. He's aborted the lap.
Well, there we go.
I think he went a bit wide again at turn 1, and he just thought, nah, this isn't a lap. I think Imrie wants to put on a show for the last lap.
We'll have to wait and see. But we'll see if Grumio finds any more time, because of course that will make Imrie's job a lot harder. He needs to find a good 20 seconds over the course of this lap to stand a shout at pole position. And obviously that's not even counting what Grumio will do on his last lap, because we've seen him pull things off. To the point where it wouldn't surprise me if he somehow finds his way into the 1 minute 12s. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm probably wrong on that, but that is the sort of thing that I've come to expect from Grumio over the course of my what's it 9 odd seasons, 8-9 seasons of commentating in this league and watching this guy pick up win after win, title after title. Look, it's, as we always say, Ben, he's 10-time champion for a reason, as he starts what will likely be his final lap. But there's Webbsy off from the gravel, letting the champion go through nice and clean as Grumio goes over the curbs there. He keeps things under control, but he feels quite on the edge there as he goes to the first couple of turns, as Imrie starting a lap again. Right, so we'll keep an eye on him as Grumio gets his lap deleted there. Okay, right, and that make things harder.
He may have enough time.
Imrie then needs to get this one right then. And Grumio, yeah, I think he might be out of it in terms of running. But Imrie could still try and get pole locked up a little bit there through the Villeneuve chicane. He's up by 4.6. A good start to things. We'll see in terms of how much he gained over the course of the lap. It's going to be interesting, this one. And you never know. We could see someone in the top 5 still trying to sneak it too. Pope is up by a 10.5 in the first sector. Dan is going towards Tamburello now for his first lap. Imri, though, is on the charge. Through Aquaminerali he goes. Out to turn 13 up the hill again. Can't get it deleted. If he gets himself deleted, that'll be even worse for him than not taking pole. A P10 start would not help his case. 7.9 up in the second sector. But obviously, he only needs to gain, I think it's 9 seconds now, because he's got 122 in. Because that last lap was still valid. He just called it off, Ben. So that's on me for not saying so. Last few corners then for Imri. 10 seconds left. And this will be the fight for pole, I should think. As he comes towards the line. It's going to come down to this. What's he got for the pole setter? Only enough for P2, but Christ is a vertier. I think, given the situation, he'll be okay with that. 8, so checker flag is now out, and we're waiting for everyone to come through and set their times. Next car to the line is Pope, who goes P2, so Pope on the front row now. Ericsson into 8th place, improves a little bit, enough at the 4th row for the moment. Dan into the last couple of corners now. He's the next car to come to the line, and HP Cook in behind him, and then Che following. So 3 good cars, all the good shouts to get themselves onto the first 2 rows of the grid here. Dan into 4th place, does just that, knocks AT down to P5. AT has like deleted. Grimio's retired, but he's on pole. He's managed to get himself saved. Che into 5th place, and that is your run. HP Cook stays in P9. Tough stuff for him. Curtis off into the grass, corners lap off. P10 for him, but Grimio takes pole. And Pope now on the front row. I think Imri will be gutted with how Q3 went, given pace was there from tonight. But Ben, Grimio on pole again. We were both wrong. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's Grumio into it. It doesn't really take you by surprise anymore when he sticks up pole position.
Well, there we go then. That is qualifying for you. Grumio on pole. Last lap deleted, but saved just out. I wonder perhaps if how things would have gone if Imri got that first lap nailed. But there it is. There's your top 10. Grumio on pole. He'll lead Pope, Imri, Dan, and Che to Tamburello. ATP6, Websy, Ericsson, HB Cook, and Curtis. That's your top 10. 1.3 covering the top half of the order. But that is qualifying, and hopefully it'll be a fantastic race for you in prospect. 32 laps around this circuit here at Imola. So we're back for we've had to take a brief intermission, but we'll join you back shortly. But let's start the Grand Prix, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back then. Time for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, round 7 of season 20 in the Races Driving League season. It should be a fantastic race of qualifying and to go by. Those of you who just joined us, welcome back. For those of you who still were with us, hope you're looking forward to the race as exciting as qualifying was. There is your circuit on offer there. 19 corners here at Imola and a 32-lap distance in today's Grand Prix. Grumio on pole, trying to go back-to-back in this race and trying to reclaim the win after last week. Che took victory, but Grumio is still 54 points clear in the Drivers' Championship. And Ben, we'll have to make our predictions while we're here, once we get the formation up started. Have you got anyone in mind you want to put forward for the win today?
Grumio.
Okay, right. So, reminder, though, that it is currently 2-0 to me in terms of the predictions thus far. I've managed to get Imri and Pope from China and Bahrain on the board. And we've had, obviously, Australia, we agreed on it mid-race, so we didn't count it then. We've had 3 streams cut short thus far. So, is it 3 or 4? 4 streams cut short. So, plus those streams you also weren't there for. So, this is round 3 of our predictions, and we'll see from here who's got what it takes. I'm gonna go with I'll go with unorthodox. Go Pope here because I feel like Pope might pull something out the bag. You never know. So that's our predictions. You're taking Grumio. I'm taking Pope.
Yep.
So with that in mind, then, it's time to get underway with your starting lineup as the cars head out on their formation lap for the start of today's Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Medium tyres in play for everyone except for JVP16. He starts in the hards. It's Courtney Goblin by himself on row 10 for Ferrari, lining up after a tough Q1. PJ Khaled in P18 for Alpine, looking to add to his 8-point tally in the Drivers' Championship from P18 on the grid. The two RBs, it's got a P17, P16, tough qualifying double Q1 elimination for JB in 10th, but differing tyre strategies it seems. Obsessed lines up P15, retired early on in Q2. Tough day for him so far, looking to try and recover it. Lucky Lambert makes his full-time return in P14 for Ferrari, and in place of Radog, at least for the time being. Alvar lines up P13 for McLaren, out-qualified by his teammate, but still currently in front of him points-wise. Ethan P12, he'll be Alpine's main hope in getting themselves into the top 10 today. DJ P11, unlucky to miss out at the very end of Q2. Curtis goes through to Q3 in equal lines in 10th place, looking to add to his tally the lone Red Bull in the race today. 9th place, HB Cook. Tough qualifying overall for Kick Sauber, especially on their first runs. HB Cook improved, but it wasn't enough in the end to nab a higher spot. Ericsson P8, good qualifying for him in the McLaren as they seek to try and get themselves out to P9 in the constructors. Websy in P7, currently 6 points behind his teammate in the championship, looking to try and change that today. Could swing with a good enough result if he finishes it in P5 or higher. P6 or higher. 80 lines up P6. Of course, Haas show the way in the constructors championship. We'll try and add to that advantage of 41 points. Che in P5, one last victory race in Miami. Can he try and go back to back from P5 on the grid? Dan in P4, finding his footing again in terms of pace after a tough start in the first few rounds. Imbri lines up P3, gut against qualifying for him, especially that first run in Q3. Pope lines up P2, and Grumio, the defending race winner and defending champion, on pole as the last few cars come through, Ben. It's going to be a good race here.
Yep, hopefully. Let's grab the popcorn. Let's be ready for this.
So Courtney Goblin taking the last place on the grid here. Grumio parking there to cover off Pope as the lights come on here for the 7th race of the season here at Imola. Lights out, foot to the floor, and we are racing here in Italy. Good start from Grumio, covers off Pope on the run towards turn 1. Che making moves on the inside, going to third, maybe second, to go towards Tamburello for the first time. Grumio defends the inside. Che and Pope both coming at the champion. Another one of them get past. A car from the gravel there. That looks like Ericsson may have gone off notice. One of the Aston Martin, sorry. And AT's gone as well. Number of cars go find the gravel. They see the McLaren in turn 4. Also same sort of thing. AT and Ericsson both down the order. Ericsson that's a dead last here. Tough gets away then for the Papaya machines, as Alvar Doubt is there in P10. Oh, car off, 10th cannon. So such a good start to the season, off on the gravel there. Tough start for her as well. Number of cars getting some sort of altercation here.
Fiber.
And
someone lost the front wing end plate.
Oh, tough. Sorry, who's lost it?
Someone else. Was it Courtney? No, Courtney's got it.
Fly off for someone. I'll look through the field here. Let's see. PJ Caller's missing one. There we go.
There we go.
So damage there, but yeah, very chaotic start, and to say the very least. Then you saw Che really go on the attack towards Tamburello, pulling alongside Pope in the race for second place, but couldn't quite do it. Pope gets away in front on this occasion. Imbri down a spot to P4. It's a tough start for him as we sort of catch our breath collectively. AT down to P12. He possibly had the worst gets away of everyone here on this first lap, save for Ericsson and 10th. Ericsson obviously qualified in P8, was doing so well in qualifying. Tough start to the race for him. We'll see if he can try and turn it around. No damage on that car to run to the gravel, and he should hopefully be okay. So we'll see if he can try and come back from here. But as lap 2 gets underway, 10th cannon, 1.8 behind. Work to be done on her front as well. But Grumio 6/10 ahead. Just the one DRS zone in play here then, Ben. Let's keep an eye on that as they go on the main straight towards turn 1 next time around. But it's a close scrap so far. The top 5 pulling away a little bit here. HB Cook leading Websy for P6 and P7. Curtis, DJ, and Obsessed making your top 10. Obsessed up 5 places there. Good start for him in this Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Obsessed has had flashes of brilliance. Don't get me wrong, and have a good starts as well. So Obsessed to find himself up in 10th. Really good job so far.
Good to get things going early on for those guys. As I saw Alvar disconnect for a second, I got terrified thinking it was me. And everyone's about to start disconnecting from me, and I'll be getting desynced again, but not to be. Alvar's also got wing damage, so keep an eye out for that as well. Lucky Lambert's done P16, so nothing much game for him. He's currently, he's down 2 places. Obviously, he's the one who made Q2 for Ferrari, but Courtney Goblin from dead last, up 5 spots. So looking good for him thus far. Alvar's next target in front. DRS in play this time round as Grimio sets fastest lap going towards turn 1. DRS don't play though for all the cars in behind down to HP who hasn't got it. So Webster might try and go for an attack here in the race of P6 and goes dancing past the kick Sauber around the outside going towards that first corner. Up into P6 goes Websy, and Obsessed Gamer being passed twice there. Another double whammy for him as AT and Ethan both get past the Mercedes and up into P10 and P11. So moving Ethan into the points. Oh, around goes Lucky. Lucky finds the gravel circuit he's won at in the past. A long time ago in that sense though, but he's spun the car out. No damage done. He spun by himself in the pack. So lucky that no one hit him and Lucky is able to save it. So I suppose it's sort of in his name, and we'll put it that way. You can see the number of trails in the gravel already as the cars make their way through the second sector here. DJ into the 8th spot. He's managed to make the pass on Curtis there. This is getting very... It's just been very chaotic so far, hasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it has, yeah. When Lucky actually went for a spin, all I got was trees in my camera view, so that wasn't particularly great. But yes, very chaotic start. Let's see if it quietens down a bit as I struggle to get my words out.
I mean, I'll say this: the trees were quite high quality. Let's not forget this is one of the tracks that got redone for this game specifically. This is the last track on the calendar that did get redone in terms of order. We'll visit them this season. We've missed the majority of them, unfortunately, thanks to connection issues over the course of the last few weeks. But the top 5 or 6 appear to be somewhat stagnant. The top 5 pulled away as they have done in the past. HP took into P6, managed to pass Websy there. DJ in the top 10 in 8th place. As 10th Cannon starts to make some moves here, 10th up into the 16th position. As in front of her, it's her teammate JB putting the works on Alvar. We're now up into the 14th spot. Work begins for him and chasing down Courtney Goblin for 13th. As Obsessed Gamer ends up with our first penalty of the day. 3 seconds, multiple warnings, and track limits could come into play big time over the course of this Grand Prix Imola. And I wouldn't be surprised, Ben, correct me on this later on, obviously could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised later on if we do end up seeing at least one driver get 10 seconds for speeding the pit lane, because the transition from racetrack to pit lane here is one of the toughest on the calendar, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yep, yes it is, yeah, absolutely, 100% without a doubt. Just watching Websy through Aqua Minerale, just completely lost the rear. He's lost DRS to the kick Sauber in front of him, and he's got DJ all over the back of him.
So things all of a sudden looking a bit more bleak for Websy. He's got several cars chasing him down, a pack of about 3 or 4 building up behind, being trailed by Ethan in P11. So that's about how low we're going to be looking to see him sink. Obsessed is 1.2 behind, so no DRS for him. He'll stay away from that train for the time being. But I mean, that could be a permanent thing, potentially, if these guys all close in. As you see DJ making a move. I'm sure Websy won't mind losing a spot to his teammate, but Curtis, however, Curtis going for both cars here up towards Tamburello. Couldn't quite do it. That would have been very ambitious from the Red Bull if he managed to pull that off.
Yeah, it would, yeah, because Curtis was already on the grass just on the entry into turn 1, so I think Curtis would have been struggling for grip. We've got a couple of cars having a bit of a scrap.
Tussle there between Websy and AT. AT was going for it into the Villeneuve chicane. I thought both cars get away, that Websy found the gravel, and AT obviously was stuck in a bit behind him. And Ethan was dancing around both cars, cool as you like, to get himself in the points paying places for Alpine, but couldn't quite do it, so stays in P11, but obviously a lot closer, probably with slightly less damaged tyres, but to put it that way. But up front, it's still Grimio leading by about a second. It's sort of fluctuating between a second and less than a second. So Pope is looking for DRS, but not really getting it right now, so he might find himself under pressure from his teammate. But the top 5 are still all together, but are spread out a lot more compared to the fight behind the train that Websy's leading, for example.
Yeah, I think the top 5, I'd say, taking care of the tyres a lot more than the rest of the grid. I've just been watching a couple of drivers on board, and it looks like a few of them are already starting to struggle on the rear tyres in terms of rotation, because they're all losing it, and we're already on lap 6, so it's flying by. We've got a couple of moves into still 1 sec.
Curtis makes the pass on Websy, but AT not so lucky. AT finds the gravel there and will lose out to not 1 place but 2. So the latest victim of the classic double whammy. Move AT out the points, move Ethan inside the points. Now he finds P10 as he was trying to do this time a lap ago. His next target being the 2 Aston Martins, and then Curtis in front of him. Curtis doing a solid job here and holding on to a place inside of the points. In terms of position change, up 3 places from his race start. The biggest gainer so far has actually been Courtney Goblin, up those 4 spots in P15, but he's still in that mid-pack train with Alvar and JB in front of him. JB on the hard tyres, the only car to be running the hardest compound in this race. So it'll be interesting to see how long he goes. we've often tried to see drivers do a one-stop around the circuit on previous games, but we're looking at a two-stop. I think we could be looking at one towards the end of the Grand Prix. Not too sure. It could be quite tight. We'll see in terms of who manages their tyres best. We get an indication from that as to who will go for what. DJ's on the tail of Curtis there. Those guys are still racing for P7 at the minute. Websy is still falling away a little bit. So I'm wondering, Ben, as we saw a lap or two ago, as he got passed by a number of cars.
Merck's off. Obsessed is off.
Obsessed in the gravel. And
just completely lost it.
Keeps the car rolling. This was a lock up. Did you lose the back end?
Yeah, just completely lost the back end. Rear axle locked and the car just went, no, I'm not having this, and went off into the gravel.
Sounds quite similar to what happened to Temp Cannon in qualifying 1, as she still finds herself in the P15 spot for the minute. Courtney Goblin, yeah, as I say, is still keeping her at bay. As Obsessed gets a second penalty here. Things not looking good for him so far in this Grand Prix. Ericsson's got a penalty as well. 3 seconds for him, 6 seconds for Obsessed. So that's the state of play for those guys right now. No penalties up front. Everyone keeping it nice and clean as Grumio's extended his advantage by almost a second here to Pope. So Grumio's managed to get the hammer down and is getting to work again as we've seen him do in the past. It could be a very quiet Grand Prix for him unless we get some sort of interruption like a safety car that could play into it. And I'd say honestly, there's every chance given that given the chaos we've seen in these first 6 or 7 laps so far, Ben.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there on 100%. There's like, it looks like a lot more. Good.
Sorry, Pope slid off of turn 18. I thought for a second he was going to lose it, but he's managed to save it. But Che may come at him. It's going to be quite close. But Imri may have better ideas going towards Tamburello. All the cars closing in on each other, but not enough.
First one into pits.
Yep,
Websy.
first pitter of the day. Websy's in.
Whether for the two-stop, I'm just thinking, is the pit lane too long for a two-stop race to happen? But only time will tell, as I believe that is a set of hard compound tyres for Websy, and indeed it is.
So easy change then for Websy, no such concerns in the pit lane. He's the only car in. And saying that, Lucky Lambert also joining him in the pit lane. I'm guessing hard tyres. No, he's going for another set of medium tyres, so it will be a two-stop then for the Ferrari driver. He will need to pit again before the end of the Grand Prix. Obviously, you've got to use at least 2 dry compound tyres unless it starts to rain and the track is then declared wet. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I mean, the clouds are there, but we're seeing no sign of any rain over the course of this race. So it likely just be a dry, overcast one, which isn't always nice to look at, but hopefully still entertaining for us.
Yeah, well, rain can come at any moment. The unpredictability at Emilia is always there, so we'll see. We'll see if rain lingers around the track. We'll see if it does sprinkle. Who knows?
I say what we're looking at potential for a good few overtakes here. As Che has got his lineup right behind Pope. Imri's also close again. Dan might go for it too, and a change in play for the 2 Williams teammates as Che gets in front of Pope, Pope backs out of it, and it ensures that he won't lose out to Imri. So 2 Williams cars again looking quite good right now. Only 26 points going Haas's way, but currently that is 33 going Williams' way. So it's a 7-point gain for Williams. That'll take things down to 34 points in the championship, separating the top 2 teams. As PJ and Obsessed both also into the pit lane. It's a set of hard tyres for PJ.
Change.
And for Obsessed, it's a set of medium tyres. So the 2-stop is definitely a viable option for a number of these guys here, Ben. So I think we were right in the end.
Yeah, it will be, yeah. Just a quick note on PJ, he had his front wing changed, obviously, from that damage early on. So we'll see if his lap times do improve on the sound compound tyre.
One to keep an eye out for as both cars leave the pit lane here to get ourselves back to racing once again. We're on lap 9 here this Grand Prix. We are nearing the end of lap number 9 and on to lap 10. Grumio now 4.4 in front as the 4 cars behind them continue to scrap. These guys are just so evenly matched at the best of times. Now going at it, hammer and tong on the circuit. As Grumio starts lap 10, we'll see if Pope can try and get Che back, but Imri pitting, so first change in the lead pack. Imri's in. I imagine we'll likely see a set of probably either hards or mediums going onto that race car. I should think most likely hards, I'm going to say. I mean, it's looking good for these guys at the minute. Obviously, we've got quite a big gap over the rest of the field here. As Imri goes for a set of hards. Yes, he does. Change made and waiting for a second. I think they'll get the game 30 seconds to launch him again. But he's back on he's nearing back on the circuit again. And he's going to rejoin. He won't rejoin in traffic, it seems. It's going to be okay. He's going to rejoin in P13 here as Ethan and Websy also found the pits. Hard tyres for both cars. So hard tyres, I think, will be the prime weapon of choice for the majority of drivers, Ben, but we'll still get a fair few who at the very least think about the mediums.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, depending on safety cars as well. There's always a chance around here with the amount of chaos that we've already seen in the opening 10 laps. Whether the safety cars do come into play, and maybe even red flags, who knows?
I think we need quite a lot of carnage for a red flag, more than we've had so far. I mean, but you never know. We had that quite weird one at Silverstone a couple of months ago. At this stage, it'd be a little while since that reverse grid finale of season 19. I mean, that was the last time we had a red flag in this league. Typically we get one about once a season, maybe two if we're really lucky. So I have to wait and see as to. I mean, hopefully we'll avoid getting any, because I mean, we'd rather not see these guys come to blows on track in that sort of sense. As Pope tries to challenge Che again into Tambrillo, can't quite do it, but Grumio 5.2 to the good now in front of the two Williams cars. Dan following along with them. HP Cook now P5, 10 seconds back from those guys. AT and DJ quite close to comfort on the circuit here, but Curtis still holding the pair of them off as Imrie gets around Ericsson. The Cottony Goblin coming in. PJ Khaled, 3-second penalty for him. It's all going on at the minute. It's all kicking off on circuit. Hard tyres for Cottony, so he's away. Imrie though into P11, and as it stands right now, he's currently 30.8 seconds back from the leaders, and he's got a bit of clean air around him. So we'll see if he can try and gain any time while being where he is, and we'll get more of a sense when the cars in front of him do come into the pit lane. So as to when that'll be, I can't imagine being any more than a few laps or so. We'll see if they try and take it to halfway, Ben. But we're well within the pit. We're well within the pit window now.
Yeah, the two stop is obviously a viable option around here. The only thing that struggles to get me is the racing. I see a number of drivers now struggling into the penultimate and then the final corner as well. Typically, those up in front, downward struggling on this lap, and then also you've got like Curtis and DJ who are also struggling at the moment.
HP Cook might find himself under a bit more pressure here. He's got a number of cars on his tail as DJ comes to the pit lane from that mid pack. JB into P8 now, so he's still on those hard tyres. Doing a good job so far, but obviously yet to pit. So we'll get an idea as to where he emerges when he comes back out. Imrie fastest lap. He's into P9 now as DJ and Ted Cannon both come to the pit lane. Hard tyres on for DJ. And there it is. There's 10 seconds.
There it is. He called it.
I did say. Well, I hate to be bearer of bad news for Ericsson, but 10-second penalty is in there for him. He'll serve that likely next time he comes in. Whether he does plan to come in again, I'm not too sure. Can those hards do 20 laps, do you think? What do you reckon? In terms of tyre life, can they do 20 laps?
Fortunately enough, I've had career mode experience on this track a number of times. 20 laps is borderline. You can do probably about 22 laps and then the tyres will give up. But I hear a number of tyres screeching, just coming out, just skating at the end of Sector 2 and into Sector 3.
Okay, we'll get a sense of that as the race continues on here. AT makes the pass on Curtis at last of P6, so he's now got a clear run at HP Cook in the race for Pete for the 5th spot on the racetrack. In terms of cars who have made their stops in, we are currently waiting on the top 8 to pit. Imrie leads the cars who have not pitted yet. He's only 5 seconds back from JB, so and actually closing rather rapidly here compared to the cars around him as Che gets passed by Pope. Che slides a little bit there. For a second, I thought he was going to lose the car in Tambrella, but doesn't. HP Cook is also in, so he makes his change. That'll move Imrie into the 8th spot. And we'll see what he does. Look, I probably think on a set of hard tyres. Honestly, I expect seeing Lucky and Obsessed pit for mediums. I expect there to be more takers, but not so much here. So it's looking like the two. So still looking like the 2 stop, but we'll see mediums towards the end though. As you say, Ben, 20 laps looking sort of borderline. Do you reckon 20 laps? Do you reckon 20 laps is puncture territory? What do you think?
It's just about puncture territory. Just about. You're probably talking about 70-75%.
Well, that'll make things very interesting because we never know. You never quite know when they'll go once they reach that certain margin. It could go quite early. They could last a fair bit and then go. So it just depends on how you treat the tyres on a circuit such as this one. So it'll be interesting to see if we do have anyone who loses out in that sense later on in the day. But for now, though, everyone's tyres seeming all okay, especially those medium tyre runners. As Grumio comes in now, we'll see if the rest of the train follows him in. Pope is following. Dan is doing the same thing, but Che has to stay out to avoid double stacking. So we'll see what Che does now to try and gain some time by himself on the racetrack. And we'll see where Imrie emerges too, compared to those cars in front of him. Grumio is on a set of hard tyres. He is gone already, so he'll take some catching in this race. I think as Imrie rounds the last corner, he should quite a way in front of those guys then. Yes, he will. So Imri will be into likely a net second place as he comes out in front of Grumio, actually. Well.
Undercut.
Undercut and worked perfection by a fair few laps there from Imri. And I did not see that coming, Ben.
Neither did I. And judging by that, Danny's also got traffic. How the race is turned on its head.
Ah, do you know what? I love when a race turns on its head. There's nothing I love more than that, especially when I don't see it coming. I mean, for the second time this season, we've really underestimated Imri's pace through the pit stops. And from here, though, he's still got to keep Grumio at bay. And I'd say Grumio has possibly been a little bit more consistently quicker so far. I mean, well, saying that, we've seen Imri in clean air and just working his way through traffic on fresh tyres. He's looking good at the minute. Grumio, though, is about a second and a half behind, almost 2 seconds, and we'll get DRS off JB most likely, unless JB obviously lets him go, which he's not forced to do. But I mean, Grumio will get DRS off him regardless there. So there he goes, past the line. Shea pitting, and Imri will now unbelievably take the lead of the Grand Prix. So a strategy gamble has worked for Imri quite nicely here. So he leaves turn 18 and now shows the way as Grumio will try and hunt him down. We'll see what comes by next. So we think about it. Let's think back to China for a second, Ben. Last time we were in this situation, Imri had a much bigger lead over Grumio and a lot less laps to go. But this is halfway through the race and Grumio is in DRS range. So what's the game plan here? How do you keep a 10-time champion at bay?
It's tough. That's all I'll say. It is a very tough, hard decision to make. Do you punish your tyres a bit? Obviously, Imri's tyres are 4 laps older than Grumio's.
And that may answer the question for us.
I think it has.
Well, there we go then. We'll see if Imri can keep with Grumio on these tyres over the course of the lap. I imagine he may have killed the tyres a fair bit there, obviously, in terms of pace through the pit stops, but he may have laid waste to that advantage already. So Imri down to P2 here, and actually almost out of DRS range completely, as Grumio now 8/10 in front. What a gain he's made! What fantastic pace he's exhibiting, and he may well clear Imri, and he has cleared Imri. That is blistering from Grumio. One mistake and Imri's been put to the sword completely here as Grumio rounds turn 18. Sorry, rounds turn 17. And now Imri might find himself by himself with some work, so he's trying to get back in to close up on Grumio, but in a lap's time for the next DRS zone. And there it is, fastest lap. He was almost 3 seconds quicker on that lap than Imri was. That's unbelievable.
That is ridiculous. That is esports pace.
It's just otherworldly from Grumio. But saying that, I mean, look at the pace these two are putting on here. But I'll say this in terms of the fastest laps on offer so far. 3 cars have got themselves within the in the 116s. That's fantastic. 116.8 from Dan, 116.7 from Imri, 1.16.0 from Grumio, and that's your lap just there. Pace is strong, and he's now 2 seconds in front. It's back to business then for Grumio.
How?
But saying that though,
just how?
I honestly, Ben, after all these seasons watching it, I wish I had an answer for you, but I really don't.
It is just so quick. I think we just had a couple of drivers pick up penalties, is that?
We did. I just saw DJ get one as well. There he is. So the 4th driver to receive one tonight. I'll say this though. Imri obviously took the lead briefly. I mean, given the pace so far from Grumio, I wasn't sure if he was expecting to keep it. I'm sure he obviously wanted to keep it in that sense. But he's now quite a way in front of Dan and Pope. So he has gained 2 places and clean air now by making the change strategy. So he's still better off. He's just not in the lead at this point.
Yeah, it's 100%. I don't know if I may be overthinking this, but is it going for a 2-stop, do you think?
Not sure. That could also be the thing. I mean, he's been on those hard tyres for 7 laps already. He pitted on the end lap number 10.
Here goes Pope round the outside, and now does he mid-move? No.
It's close to contact for a second there. Very tight between the pair of them, but obviously these two know how to race each other. So we trust them to keep it without going close.
Yeah, they're all borderline that.
Curtis makes the pass on 10th cannon outside the points of the race for P12. HP Cook, the yellow flag behind. That is DJ going slowly.
Yeah, I think he's just had a bit of a spin coming out of turn 2, and then he lets the Red Bull and RB past.
The yellow staying out as he keeps.
Where's he going?
Okay, he's just keeping us out of the way for Alba. I think he's still recovering himself as he gets moving again. That was a concerning path through the Vin of chicane, and definitely a path I wouldn't normally advise taking these guys. But we'll carry on. These guys, they know better than I do. But we'll continue on as we are. Lucky Lambert down P19. Obviously, he's made his pit stop. Tough thing for him so far. It's been a difficult Grand Prix. His first one back as full time. As Dan makes the pass on JB. Pope looking to try and follow Dan through us to not lose too much time for the Mercedes driver in front, as Dan looks for another podium this season. But Dan gets DRS, and JB will have no response here, I should think, to the season 11 champion. This Pope goes blasting past there at a circuit that he has fond memories of in terms of that title winning season in the past. So Pope through into P4. JB still in P5, but yet to pit. I think he's the only car yet to stop in this race. He's the only car who went on the soft, who went on the hard tyre. So I imagine we'll see him bolt on a set of mediums to go to the end on. And we could see him score some points there if things work out for him. As DJ pits. DJ's out. Okay, so he's gone and quits. There we go.
In the pits.
So your first retiree then is Lucky Lambert also pitting. I should imagine he'll keep the car rolling. Alva penalty. That's 3 seconds for him now. And that will put him... That is his first 3 seconds. Eric's still got 13, obviously. He's still got that 10 seconds to think about from the pit lane speeding earlier. As Dan now sits 6.3 behind Imri with JB out the way. So we'll see how much Dan closes in on having hard tyres that are 4 laps fresher than the car in front he's chasing. So we'll keep an eye on that fight. But for now, though, they're quite separated. As Grumio now 4.4 in front of Imri. What pace he's put on. 1:17.4 for him. And on Imri, for Imri this lap, it's going to be a 1 minute... 18.3, so big gains there once again from Romagna on that lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's Grumio, the 10-time world champion. I don't know if Grumio got slightly hampered by the retiring Aston Martin then for a second. I don't know if it did. I just saw the yellow flag hit turn 1 and thought, oh, that's where Grumio is, so I don't know if he got hampered there or not.
I think, if memory serves, there's a place before the first corner where the with the AI are known to pull off.
Oh, no way.
So I don't know. I should imagine that I think we were all okay. Normally when there's some sort of altercation in terms of an AI driver retiring on the circuit, we know about it by this point.
Yeah.
So JB emerged in P15, then he's managed to make his change off to his set of hard tyres. I thought he'd go a bit longer, truthfully, but he's had to do the last 14 laps on the...
Look at that traction.
Yeah. The medium tyres immediately finding use there as JB goes breezing past PJ, and I'd say points aren't out of the question for JB yet if he keeps the car rolling, but obviously can't kill those mediums, so he has to make those last a fair bit longer than I thought he would. So we'll see here. But the gap right now between him and Curtis in P10 currently sits at about 14-15 seconds. I'm not sure that's doable. We'll have to wait and see. But one to keep an eye out for in the second half of this race.
Yeah, definitely is. I'm just looking at Pope now. Pope and Dan. Oh, more yellow flags.
Obsessed is all okay. We can carry on.
Pope to the inside. And one, the side bit contact. Oh, the Mercedes the other way around.
And Pope's around the outside. Might do it, can't do it.
These two will give us a bit of a scrap here, Zach, aren't they?
Do you know what? They know to put on a show, these two, as they make their way out of it and up towards Tosu again.
We'll just not have an aerial crash, please.
I mean, I don't like to imagine what would happen if that straight between the first 2 chicanes was a DRS zone. I don't like to think what happened then. I think it's possibly too short to be a DRS zone. There's also that, but yeah, I can't imagine that those two both emerging from the Villeneuve chicane unscathed if that was the case. But I mean, that's just how close they are in terms of racing so far.
Yeah, these two are very close together, so this is going to play out for a while, I think.
It's an extra 3-point gain in the championship, and both drivers need it, given that there's 5 points covering them in the standings right now, and Che is in between that stand, he's only 1 point off Pope, so just needs to beat Pope, beat his teammates today to jump him in the standings for 3rd place. But Dan with a good enough results. Imri pits the second time. Okay, right, there we go. Right then, so Imri's very short on those hard tyres, so a second stop in play for him.
Here's Pope again. Around the outside, can he get Dorvid onto the grass?
Grasp it this time.
But he gets moved on.
It's taken him a fair bit of time, but Pope now in front then of Dan. Imri on a second set of hard tyres.
Just so you know, Zach, I seem to be having an issue where it doesn't call it the same pit. So every time I just hear a driver losing positions, I just keep thinking they've had a bit of an error or something. It doesn't show the pit.
Not to worry, I got it from this end. But I can confirm that Imri has pitted and everyone is unscathed. Same thing for Ethan and for PJ. So both Alpines making their changes here. So we are looking at second stops then for the majority of drivers it seems. So we'll see. We could see cars come back in before the end of this Grand Prix, but they're all doing only about 10, 12 laps on hard tyres, and I thought they'd go a lot longer than that, truthfully. But we'll have to wait and see as to whether we see anyone else make a change. Romeo, will we see him come in again? I think we should be okay for the minute. And perhaps whether he box on a set of soft tyres at the end, you never know. Should he need to pick again. But Grumio normally quite good with tyres, but Imri then down to P10. And that leaves him with a lot of work to do, and hoping that a number of cars in front take 2 stops. But Pope in second place. That's an 18-point game for him. If he finishes in second place, then he will jump Imri in the championship right now because he's scoring 17 more points. So gains of Pope in the driver's standings as Webster comes to the pit lane now as well. But Dan is still chasing him, and Che is not that far behind either. So we'll see here in these last 10, 11 laps of this Grand Prix where P2 in the championship ends up after this race. But it'll be interesting to watch as we'll likely see Dan and Pope go at it at least one more time towards the Tamburello chicane before we get to the end of the Grand Prix. We might see him go for it sooner than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking further back now towards the Curtis Cook 10th, and then Imri's not too far behind as well. Imri may look at making a move before the DRS zone on 10th. Will they get the run? No, not quite. Just looking at these lot, I wonder if these lot can go to the end on the tyres that they're on, and judging by what we're seeing at the moment, no.
So that's the judgment there then, and we'll see as to whether they'll follow through on that towards the end. We are within the final 10 laps now as Grumio heads towards Tamburello. He's managed to run both Ferraris there as Courtney Goblin lets his teammate go. Lucky Lambert chasing PJ. Giving out 10th cannon. I didn't realise she was in the points, so good stuff from 10th there to continue on her charge. But Imri may well go for it here. Could be a bit of team play in the works for Kick Sauber as HP Cook may try and hold off 10th to get his teammate around her. DRS in play for all 3 cars, I think, here. Going towards turn 1. Sorry, 10th might go for an attack herself towards that first corner, but no one closing in much. So everyone keeping it quite calm. No ERS news for anyone. And there it is, a 10-second penalty for Alba this time. So both McLarens hit by speeding penalties then.
The traction.
Medium tyres are on.
The traction on hard compound tyres for Imri. Just coming out turn 1 and into turn 2 again, which is ridiculous. I don't know if it's myself or Imri who's currently having a bit of lag. We've got yellow flags again, and it's McLaren.
That's Ericsson from the gravel there. Recovered the car. So again, another car finds the gravel but keeps the car rolling. So only damage done to the tyres in that sense. So hopefully not too much for these guys. I thought for a second it was Alva after coming out the pit lane, but not to be. Both McLarens P13, P14 here. Tough. Obviously, the race went downhill for Ericsson when he went through the gravel on the first lap. So that was a tough break for him after qualifying in 8th place. Well, hopefully for him, we'll see a few more performances like that over the course of the season coming up. But we are still keeping our eye out up in front. Imri is now behind Curtis, right behind Curtis in that Red Bull. And it's then another 2.5 seconds to AT in P5. But I'm thinking it might be all Imri can get out of this Grand Prix because I doubt that the cars in the top 4 will pit again as Imri makes the pass.
Imri's on a charge.
Going to try the outside, then HP Cook can't quite do it. I thought she was going to try and send it for a second there, but she's keeping herself right behind the other Sauber here. 2 points going in right now as Ethan and JB go tussling for P10. JB looking for points here. JB is obviously, thanks to the pit stops, closing himself back in, but obviously he still needs to go another 8 laps on those medium tyres, and that could be a death knell potentially should things go wrong.
Sorry to interrupt, Zach. I don't know if Dan's had a bit of an issue because now Pope and Che are right there.
And all of a sudden things can get quite interesting between those 3. Good eye, Ben, and we'll see on this DRS straight. It's both Williams drivers fighting for a place on the rostrum. One of these 3 cars is going to end up off the podium. The only question is to which one it will be, unless Grumio has some sort of major complication in these final 8 laps, sorry. But DRS in play for both cars here. So here we go. Pope likely the favourite to make a move here. Che falling away a little bit here to head towards turn 1. And Dan defending the inside there. Pope has to squeeze. And Pope clears him. So there we go then. That could have been a lot more dangerous. For a second I thought that Dan was going to cut across Pope and just lost with his front wing, but fortunately, again, they kept themselves away from contact as Imri now passing AT. Made big gains.
I told you he was on a flyer.
He's having. Imri is good on fresh tyres. We'll say that.
Just needs to make sure them tyres get to the end. Still got 8 laps left.
Still plenty of time to those things to go. As I mean, to be fair, my only concern in terms of tyres right now is mainly is JB, because he's on 6 lap old mediums, and I doubt he'll want to make another pit stop when he's close to the points. But he is falling away a fair bit from Ethan now. He's out of DRS range, and Ethan's still on quite fresh hard tyres himself. So it's looking at the minute as though Ethan is good for P10, and JB will need to hope that something goes wrong for a car in front of him, preferably a car that's not 10th cannon in his case, to get a point on the board.
All I have to say though, credit to both RBs. I think they've done pretty well. 10th cannon up in 8th, obviously up in the points. Started P16 if I'm not mistaken. So good recovery from 10th, and then also JB's shown pretty good pace. As we've got more yellow flags in 20, it's Ericsson in the pits.
And if I know what you're thinking there, Ben, the hopes of a late safety car have been.
It's so underwhelming to see a driver enter the pits and then retire. And see yellow flag set to 3 and realise that it's in the pits.
Yeah, no, I see you on that. But we have still got action on track, so fortunately that's not stopped. As Hexby Cook now passing 10th cannon in the race for 8th place, so he may try and advance forward to have his own go at taking on Curtis, as his teammate did a few laps ago. Imri is now 11.3 seconds back from Che. I doubt he'll catch those guys before the end of the race. I really do.
Was 14 seconds behind when he passed Imri. 80. He was 14. He is gaining at a rate of naught.
So no, AT was 14 seconds behind Che, and then they just changed hands.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's 10.8 back now, so it could happen, but we won't. We won't go into it thinking that Imri is definitely catch him, because he might not. We'll have to wait and see here. But a penalty for one of these guys could obviously open things up quite nicely. I have to keep an eye in terms of track limits. Honestly, I thought we'd see more track limits penalties today. We've seen more pit lane stuff than we have track limits. There's been, I think, what, 5 of them so far? Maybe 6 in terms of track limit penalties, and all between and only a few drivers. 2 of them were retired.
Yes, I'm just currently looking through warnings at the moment. What's that chain maybe on 2? I am just going to have a quick glance there and see what the top few are like. So Che is on 1. Che is on 2. Che's on 2 track limit warnings, so 1 more and he will get a pen.
So close quarters then, especially for the car running in 4th place at the tail end of this train. He can't afford to take too many risks in terms of making moves and perhaps being squeezed in a dangerous position. Grumio 20 seconds in front now, and at this point, this is honestly just getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's Grumio. It's like Max Verstappen in 2023. It's just ridiculous. He'll win every race by 20 seconds. Oh, but he can't do it this season.
Oh,
there we go. Oh, he's pit.
Change in play then. Okay, right. That penalty, and Pope will most likely now lead. This race has been perhaps he's on soft tyres, right? Okay, so Grumio then, I think he may have heard us. And
he wanted to spice up the race.
Right then, so down with the penalty. Che on the verge of 1. Pope now in P2, and Grumio on soft tyres. Right then, so Grumio to P4. How do we go from here? I should think that Grumio still catches these guys. Where is Imri? You can see Imri. I thought he was going to appear in a picture for a second, but can't. Imri now in P5 and 5 seconds back from Grumio, but that gap will go up massively here. As Grumio now putting himself on the charge. He's only 4.5 seconds behind. I should think he catches these guys. I mean, we've seen the traction on fresh sets of medium tyres, Ben, and we've seen it on hard tyres too. Soft tyres could be otherworldly in terms of traction.
Yep, they most certainly could. So expect him in the next couple of hours or so to really be on the back of them. The only thing is, will Pope, will Trey, will Dan all work together to try and stop Grumio from winning the race?
I don't know. I mean, that could be an idea. I mean, Che and Pope as teammates have an interest in doing that in particular, as they want to try and score some more points for the constructors. And in my case, I'm hoping that Pope does manage to hold off Grumio, win the race. Yeah,
I'm hoping not.
he was my prediction, and Grumio may have opened things up. I think he may have watched that bit when we made our picks, Ben, because he might be trying to get my hopes up. I'm not entirely sure, but it's now 4 laps to go, and Grumio is closing in quite rapidly here. And next time round, he should likely have DRS. So 4 laps left.
Yes.
Now leading. Che is closing on Pope equally. The question is, if these guys all fight, then what's the game plan from there? How does Grumio close him? How does he get around him?
I'm gonna throw another spell into where Screamer is on 2 chat limits warnings.
Oh, okay, right then. So that could open things up. He's got to keep it clean then too. I think, truthfully, if he makes the passes, then he should be okay. I think he likely knows not to take too many unnecessary risks. Knows that he can definitely make 1 or 2 passes with the DRS this time round. Perhaps even a pass down at turn 17. Perhaps if he gets closer to Dan, which he might do. He's back within DRS range now. It's just, and honestly, this is. I'm not being funny. This is an ego trip from Grumio, and I've never seen him do it before. This is a first, but it's interesting now to see what happens. He finds stuff on Dan's tail, and there he goes.
He's gonna make it.
I dare say.
That's 1 position down.
I want to say, is there a chance he can get a double overtake in on both these two with DRS? That being how much more grip he's got as they round the last few corners. He's quite close to both of them here. So this could be a chase for position big time here. 3 laps to go, and he's not really closing much. Okay, right, but Che is.
No,
and Che's
not.
goes to the outside to a chance for the lead. And Che takes the lead. So, there wasn't as much change there, but Grumio better traction on Pope. On corner exit, diving at it. Pope squeezes him. Contact between the pair of them. And Grumio has to back out of it. But make it better run into Toso on the outside towards the grass. Pope is giving him nothing whatsoever here. This is going to be interesting. As Dan slides out.
Gotta get past him now.
Is Grumio perhaps trying to force Dan? Is Pope trying to force Grumio in some sort of track limits error? Che slides a bit there through turn 9. It's getting interesting now.
I mean, you can't be any closer without making contact with the rear wing.
I think I see the game plan now. I think I'm seeing Pope trying to hold back Grumio so that Che could try and break DRS. Is that the game plan perhaps from Williams? The 2 teammates working in tandem here to try and get one of their cars the win. Is Pope making the gentleman's sacrifice here? As Grumio tries it on the inside. He's gone for it. And Pope may have no response. And that could be it.
Response.
He's done what he could, Pope. But with 2 laps to go, it looks as though Grumio is set to make the pass again. And Che, try as he might, will have no response to the irresistible force of Grumio, who goes dancing around the outside. And the ego trip is complete. Grumio moves into P1 again and is 2 laps from taking his 5th victory in 7.
Well, it was a good attempt from Williams, I won't lie.
It was fun while it lasted, but of course, let's not forget that if Grumio still gets a penalty, he has to gain another 2 seconds. But he's gained 1 of them already, so he's not doing too bad. I should think he'll be 3 seconds clear by the end of the Grand Prix now. But that comes down now to between Pope and Che as to who will finish in 2nd and 3rd, unless one of them gets a penalty. You said Che is still on 2 warnings. As Curtis gets one, I thought that was Che for a second, but no, it's Curtis there, P7. Imra's in P5, 4.3 back, so his charge is coming to a close here. And it's looking like the 2 stop did not pay off for him in the end.
Can he gain a second in this last lap?
That is also true, yes, because he could be looking at P4 potentially. Dan looks to be falling away a little bit here, and Imre is closed in a fair bit. Of course, he's on quite old tyres, and so they come down now between Pope and Che. So you take 2nd place as Grumio starts the final lap. 2.5, 2.6 in front, so he'll be safe for that penalty regardless, I should think. As both cars are going for it. Che's got much more battery than Pope does, so I shouldn't imagine we'll see a change there. Pope's got a good toe though going towards turn 1. Maybe. Not quite. Right, there we go then. So, Pope stays in 3rd place, and we'll see if he can get anything off his teammate in the closing lap. Imre though still 4 seconds back pretty much. Needs to gain a second on this final lap to start to get himself into the top 4 in this race. But this has been Grumio's all the way.
He's gained 8 tenths already.
Well, there we go then. Grumio then only half a lap to go, and he is out of range now for that penalty. And I'm thinking Pope may be comfortable with just following Che home here. So Ben, you're about to go 2-1 up, you're about to go 2-1 down in terms of predictions. You've gained 1 back here, unless Grumio spins out in this last corner. I should think he'll get a puncture now. 3 corners from home then. Grumio's been dominant in this race and gave us a bit more excitement than he normally would do by taking an extra pit stop. He's going to come through the final corners now and take his 5th win from 7. Then Grumio towards the line and back-to-back seasons wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, spins it across the line to delight the home fans. Che in 2nd place, Pope in 3rd, Dan 4th in the end. Imri's come back to 5th. Actually, Imri gets it in the end. All right then.
Yeah, he did.
I wonder if that skid from Dan might have cost him. I wouldn't have done that if I was chasing a penalty. I had to find out.
I think it was within the 3-second margin anyway.
Okay, right, gotcha.
I don't think it mattered.
AT P6, Curtis P7, Ethan 8th. 10th Cannon finds way back to the points in P9, and HP Cook in the end nabs the last point on offer and may come. Oh no, for a second I thought go piling into 10th Cannon, who is at that point now where she can't be hit by another car, unfortunately, unless they also drive themselves into the pit wall. JB in P12 in the end, Websy P11. Yeah, it's just a quiet race for a lot of these guys towards the back end of the field in the end. Alvar P13, tough day for McLaren in the end after it looked as though they might be able to score some points. PJ P14, his teammate comes away with some points, but still PJ being jumped now by his teammate in the standings.
Oh.
And he's done the thing. AT obviously, as we know, finished in 6th place. Obsessed Gamer
Good order, yeah.
will finish in P15 in this race, and the two Ferraris, the last of the running cars then in the home territory, so tough break for them there. But Grumio, your winner, and gave us a bit more excitement than he normally would. But we got through a race, and I'm pleased with that. I'll happily take that. And it was an exciting one too. That was actually a pretty good race.
Yeah. Oh, good race, though.
So Grumio then takes victory once again. Normal service is restored then for the reigning world champion. Che in 2nd place in the end, and Pope comes home in 3rd. And for the time being, let's not forget, that'll be the last race at Imola in the RDL, at least for the foreseeable future, as Imola taken off the calendar for 2026. Whether we'll see it thanks to this game still being the game for the 2026 season as well. I have to wait and see whether we'll get a special race here, perhaps even a non-championship event, you never know. But there it is then, Grumio, your winner. He is your last winner at Imola for the time being, and I'll be sad to see it go. I mean, Imola's one of my, I like Imola as a circuit. But in terms of your race results then, Grumio wins the race then from Che in 2nd, Pope 3rd in the end, Imri 4th to Dan in P5, Curtis, Ethan 10th, HB Cook and Websy take home your points finishing places. JB in P11, Alvar P12, and it's PJ, Courtney Goblin, saying that, so AT finished in 6th place, we go down from there. P15 for Courtney Goblin, P16 for Lucky Lambert, Obsessed in the MP17, and then Ericsson and DJ go down as DNFs. We'll get a better glimpse of the results when we get to the end. We get to the Stewards Report after tomorrow, and that'll do us then in terms of coverage of the racing here at Imola. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as we did, but of course post-race interviews about to get underway as well, so looking forward to those as well. We'll still get a chat with anyone as to just sort of what went down over the course of the Grand Prix there, because obviously we had a number of cars, Ben, that spent the majority of the race quite close together.
Well, that race was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I put it that way. I mean, again, I wasn't really confused, but more surprised by Grumio's approach at the end of the Grand Prix, and I'd like to see. Gone. Yeah, just I don't appreciate what I did. I don't think what I did was right, but at the same time, provided those with more excitement. But hey, here's what it is, and if it provides us with more excitement, then I guess that's what matters. Yeah, I mean, at least for us, it definitely matters. But Grumio will extend his lead in the Drivers' Championship by a fair bit. I should think that Pope, I don't think will jump Imri for 2nd place, but it will be a lot closer between those guys. So it'll be interesting to see in terms of the next few weeks. If we go to Monaco next week, Monaco will be definitely a different sort of Grand Prix. And we have got one in. Pope is here. Pope, welcome along into the stream. 3rd place for you in today's race. Double podium then for Williams. You were leading when Grumio came into the pit lane there. What was the immediate reaction to that? I've got to know.
Expected. I feel like, when you're that quick and you're that far ahead, it's a free pit stop. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to race against him, so I was just like, you know what, that's fine. Let him go on the softs and let him just enjoy himself, you know what I mean?
I'll ask this as well. In terms, just one more thing on that. Was the idea on lap third to try and keep him behind? Because obviously you gave him fair dues in the first sector, and then towards the end of the lap as well. So was the plan to try and keep at bay, let Che get away?
Yeah, as much as possible. It was never going to happen, but it's always better to race someone than just let them pass at times. But it's payback for Silverstone last season when he was on dry tyres and wet conditions and causing me an absolute nightmare. So I thought I'd give him a little bit of a receipt for that, but no, it's all fun and games, and I didn't do anything illegal. So.
To be fair, again, that Silverstone race one of my favourites in recent memory. I mean, obviously, we're sort of midway through that run of tracks that you've always been very, very vocal about your appreciation for these tracks. Are we nearing the end of that now? We've got a few more to go.
I think we've still got quite a while, to be honest. I mean, it's been a bit of a shame that I got, obviously, what happened in Saudi Arabia probably could have won that race, or at least P2, and then Miami, obviously, getting that qualifying ban, so kind of made those two races null and void. But, I mean, Monaco next week will be obviously really fun. I'm sure you'll ask about that. But up until, probably Belgium or Hungary now, I'm in a pretty happy spot of being able to compete and maybe try and recreate a podium streak again.
You are right. I was going to ask about Monaco, but you can't really blame me given how vocal you've been about that circuit in the past. Obviously, you've won there several times. Is there a chance for another victory? I mean, you were quite close to Dan last season, so you never know. It's a shorter race too, so plenty to play into it. But do you think you can win Monaco next week?
It'll be tough. It'll be really tough, I think. I mean, Imri's just ridiculously quick in qualifying around there. Obviously, Grumio is Grumio, so there's no real explanation needed for that one. So I'm intrigued to see what will happen. I still believe it's a mandatory two-stop as well, even though it's a 50% race. So that's going to make the pit lane really active in those 39 laps. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, and obviously with safety cars involved as well.
Definitely another layer to the drama in terms of that two-stop rule. Well, obviously, good job today on podium finish in the end. Perhaps not the result we wanted, but we obviously take it and move on to the next Grand Prix. Hopefully, looking at a much stronger performance for you next time out as well, given it's been one of your best tracks in the past. We'll come now to 10th Cannon. 10th Cannon comes home in the points-paying places. 10th takes P9, so another points-paying finish on the board. 10th, good job. Of me, obviously, qualifying is a bit of a punch in the face there, but we happy with the comeback?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm quite surprised with this, to be honest, given I was on a one stop and the tires were made of literal cheese. But yeah, I think for what it is, I think that's a good result.
I mean, we are in Italy, so we can't be too surprised by that. In terms of, because I mean,
True.
As you start so far back, you as to sort of. You got a fair bit of chaos on the race start. Obviously, you did end the first lap about 2 seconds off of Courtney in P18. What happened on that first lap? Because there was a lot going on, and we didn't really get much of an eye on it.
I made a mistake. I thought I had the room to stay on the inside, and I didn't. And I made contact with someone and spun myself. Entirely on me. I don't think the other driver was affected, but yeah, I just made a mistake. Which was kind of annoying because there was a lot of chaos on that start, so I thought I could have benefited from it. But I mean, I recovered just fine anyway, so I'll take it.
In terms of tyre wear over the course of the Grand Prix, I'm looking at here, based on what I've got on my screen here from the results to check a flag, you ran the longest on the hard tyres than anyone else. You did a full 21 laps on those things. So how were the tyres by the end? Were they dying, or were they still feeling okay?
Well, when I crashed across the line, I could see one of my wheels, and to go back to the cheese analogy, it looked shredded. That wasn't even the worst tire. The worst one was the right rear, which I can only imagine the state of that one. I think it was on had to have been on 76, maybe 78% by the end of the race. It was worn. I had a feeling I was going to get a puncture on that last lap, and I feel so lucky that I didn't.
I was going to ask that. Were we sort of nearing puncture territory if we were going for another
Oh,
lap?
gosh, yeah. We were in puncture territory.
Okay. Gotcha. Right, yeah, obviously, solid result, more points to the board for you. We come to Monaco next week, as you know. And, I mean, obviously, you had a good race there back in season either 17 or 18, I forget. But a race where you
18.
sort of kept the Alpines at bay for quite a period of time over the course of that.
The Alpines kept me at bay.
Right, that was it. Sorry, I got the other way around.
The Alpine in question is in this call. Curtis!
I will ask him about that in a matter of moments and ask if you want, I'll ask if you want deja vu. But yeah, what's the game plan for Monaco? Is there a chance we can walk away with more points?
Yeah, I think so. I just got to get enough practice in. I'm kind of bummed that it's not 100% anymore because I like that I like the test of endurance that the long Monaco race gave us, but I think it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Nonetheless, especially with the two-stop. I don't really know what the strategy is going to be there because I think most tracks it's just mediums to hards and then you're fine. And then some tracks is just harder than most, but this one we're almost forced onto a different strategy. So I think I don't know what people are going to do, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
Plans to keep an eye out for in next week's race. And
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the strategy and play, that I have to wait and see what people turn up with. But obviously, in terms of today, good job on the points there. Hopefully, we'll try and carry that on into next week as well. Keep that streak going. We'll come now to the driver who kept you at bay for a long time in that fated race 2 seasons ago. Curtis comes home in P7 for Red Bull, a few seconds back from 80 in the end. Curtis, solid job, more points for you on the board there, mate. Good day at the office?
Yeah, I mean, I seem to be one of the few who enjoy Emilia. Don't enjoy the tyres like everyone else. But yeah, just kept it clean, tried to stay out of trouble, and just had good pace. Nothing too much really happened after the start. It was just a case of trying to catch AT and just getting dangerously close to DRS, but never quite getting it. Yeah, good fun.
Of course, yeah, quite a fair few scraps in the first stint, particularly with DRS going towards that first corner. Was there anyone in particular you enjoyed fighting the most, or would that been AT?
It's always it's always fun going to that first corner, especially because obviously the kinks and the straight, you don't quite know people are going. But I think at one point I was almost 3 wide with the 2 Aston Martins going in there. I mean, the people I enjoy racing, the people you know are going to give you room and be clean and everything. Some are better than others, but it all comes with experience. I've been here a few years now, so I try to use that.
Well, obviously, the points gained on RB today, so that closes the already quite small gap between you guys in the championship. Do you guys feel like perhaps you and TJ back next week? Do you feel like we can take the fight to those guys and maybe walk away from Monaco with P5 in the standings?
Well, if 10th was to stay in my train again, I'm sure we'll gain points that way. That sounds absolutely fine by me. But yeah, why not? Monaco's a fun one. I always seem to score points around either score points or crash. It seems to be, one of the two. But yeah, it'll be again just survive. Hopefully, it's straightforward. But the 2-stop should make it interesting.
Interesting indeed, and yes, survival will definitely be hopefully on the cards for the majority of drivers in the field. But I just have to wait and see who ends up on the wrong side of things because there's always one in these Monaco races. But obviously, yep, again, good job on the points today. Good race overall for you, and we'll move on to HB Cook, who came home with the last point on the board for Kick Sauber. I mean, yeah, so it was I think tough qualifying. It was tough Q3 in particular for you, Cook. Was the recovery on the cars today, or was it already pan out for you?
Honestly, I've literally been to myself, I don't really know what happened. Imola's a track that I normally back myself with, especially in other leads. Obviously, quality you expect to be very tight under the 1 minute 20s, so it's always going to be very tight, especially with it's precision. It's going to decide who's me where. I thought I was in the mid-table around that P10 spot. I just didn't expect to get the start I did, jumping I think a few cars up to 6th. And then I just don't know, pace just massively fell off. Just didn't have the pace. I literally sat there thinking, why is 10th and Curtis like didn't like a second on me each lap? But it is what it is.
So the hard tyre perhaps not as favourable in terms of in terms of wear today.
I think you'll both. I think, especially when the tyres started to die off a bit, obviously you could see it. I don't know if the setup was the correct style for me. Obviously, with me turning up last minute, I kind of nicked one off somebody, so kind of just had to roll the dice with it. I don't think it really planned out today for me, but I think today is always crap around Emilia. It's crap around many traps on this game because we just have the time while it is, but that's not an excuse. Still look at myself as driving, can I say the tyres better? Can I look at these better? So.
Right, so in terms of next week's race, Monaco obviously next up. And yeah, obviously, I mean, the two-stop rule is in play there for that race. Is that one we try and take advantage of? Perhaps try to go some bit more unorthodox strategy-wise, or we're not too sure yet?
I'm not sure strategy-wise. Obviously, Monaco. I think, like Tent said, you never know what people's going to try. Like I think we saw last season, we had rain and somebody tried softs. So I think you'll see a very different tire like selection from people. But with me, who normally does to a two-stop most races, I think it'll help me out. Obviously, I've got an idea in my mind, but that's praying that it's dry. I think last season I tried to do the two-stop, like the 2 or the 3, like make it work. Obviously trying to extend the stints, so pitting towards the end. But especially with simulation damage, and if you tap a wall, you get about 5% extra tire wear. So I think instead of racing, I think strategy is going to be the key next week over actual racing and everything else.
And that'll be the one. That'll be the thing to keep an eye out for then over the course of the 39 laps next week. But obviously, good job getting yourself back in the points, and hopefully we'll see some more from you next week as well. We'll come now last of all to our very own JB Racer One, who comes home P12 in the end. But I think JB, I mean, all over the shop today. I mean, obviously you're the lone car on hard tyres over the course of that first stint, so going a little bit longer into the race. How are things on your end?
Yeah, it was one of the better races, I'd say. It was probably the only race this season I've actually enjoyed, even though I scored points in Saudi, but that was because everyone else crashed. Yeah, I felt like I had some pace today, which was good. And it was a bit weird to be up the front for a moment. But unfortunately, I didn't really realise that the mediums were such a terrible tyre, or rather they had the deficit that they did to the hards. So when I went on the mediums at the end, I was actually slower than Ethan behind and Websy as well, which meant I lost a couple of places I needed for that point. But otherwise, yeah, the pace is good and no spins or track limit issues today. So definitely an improvement over the last few weeks.
Obviously had the wheel for a little while, and there've been the whole setup there in general. Would you say you're sort of starting to find your feet with that now?
Well, I think my main issue was the traction, which I've upped mine to medium now because it was just not working. I gave it 6 races, and unfortunately, just most of the time I was just spinning. So yeah, a little bit slower in that sense, but it means I'm not, spinning out. And actually, I don't know, when you're not having to fight the car every turn, probably just going to be quicker anyway. So yeah, definitely a step forward. And hopefully, Imola's never been a strong track for me. Many seasons I've ended up with however many time penalties and various things. So hopefully this is one of my weaker tracks and I can carry the good form forward for the future races.
Question in particular for you, as you are obviously the overseer of everything in the league. As you're obviously aware, this will be the last time that Imola appears on the actual sort of calendar. Should we see Imola still available with the F1 2026 cars? Is there a chance this circuit still appears on the calendar at any stage? Perhaps as a reverse grid finale of sorts, maybe one of those sort of circuits. What do you think?
It's certainly not off the cards. I should say it's not on the calendar next season, but there have been talk of maybe swapping out a race or like a Miami or something like that. But I try not to change the calendar in that way. So it probably would be, say, we need to add on a track at the end of the calendar, or as you say, maybe change the reverse grid. Maybe do the full normal calendar and then add Imola on at the end as there's a reverse grid race. That would be quite good. Something like that. But yeah, for now, maybe the last time we see it. So I think it was a good race and it actually looked like it was quite a good battle up front. So yeah, a good way to sign off if it was.
I mean, you'll likely see it when you watch the stream back. Grumia went for an ego trip with about 4 laps to go and put on a set of soft tyres and just blitzed it and blitzed both Che and Dan. So he did that. You'll see it later on. But yeah, obviously Monaco next week. Is that a track you feel like you can go back to and score some more points, or are we not looking forward to too much?
Well, it's a weird race because I don't think it's one anyone particularly practices for, because it's more about survival than pace or setup. I'd say if you don't hit a wall and lose your wing at some point, you're probably going to guarantee yourself points. So with a 2-stop though, it makes things more complicated because say you do damage your wing, you kind of have that free pass in that you don't lose as much time because you're not making. It's normally obviously just a one stop because there's not really much tyre wear. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm thinking about maybe going long because I think if you pit early, you then get stuck behind people who are much slower than you. Although I'm normally towards the back, but I don't know yet. It's a lot of unknowns, so I think it'll be quite a good, quite an exciting race actually.
Hopefully will be a blast. And you can catch all of it here next week on the 19th of January. The Monaco Grand Prix will be our next Grand Prix in the Races Driving League schedule. But that'll do it then. Ben, any final thoughts from you before we sign off?
No, other than it was a very good race. I'd say it was banging.
I'd have to agree with you. And hopefully the action continues on into next week. Well, that's been your coverage tonight of the Racers Driving League Season 20 Round 7 Grand Prix. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future RDL action. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next Monday for the Monaco Grand Prix. Goodbye, everyone.